With a market size of $717 billion, accounting for 6.9% of the U.S.'s total GDP, it's difficult to convey just how massive the U.S. media and entertainment industry is. More than the GDPs of 162 countries around the world, 1.4 million employees, it's very likely will be a $1 trillion industry by the end of this decade. Its products also sustain a necessary and robust consumer sub-industry of journalists, critics, bloggers, hobbyists, and content creators. But within that sub-industry exists a parasitic element, almost identical at a glance, but darker, cynical, predatory, contributing almost nothing to the media while poisoning the fandoms around it and creating untold harm to those who enjoy the media in good faith. These grifters and propagandists wear the mask of fandom, but actually weaponize the media and the followings they amass around it for personal and or political gain. An industry with that sort of profit potential is a prime candidate for a con. Add to the fact that it's an industry in the middle of a paradigm shift. Makes it even more fertile ground for someone without ethics, but more than enough performative confidence to make a fucking killing. And ever since fan culture overtook every other form of culture as the dominant one in financial terms, somewhere around 2011 or 2012, with the widespread use of digital media on touch screens in our pockets, the grift has been growing. Making its first appearance with the Gamergate movement, which saw its sexist yet somewhat organic original intentions co-opted by former White House Chief of Staff Steve Bannon, who tapped Milo Yiannopoulos to kind of be his hatchet man in that whole movement. Think of Elizabeth Holmes and the Theranos scam that saw her, albeit temporarily, rise to the rank of number 435 on the billionaire list and number 6 on the Forbes list of richest people under 40. In an industry such as emerging health and diagnostic tech, she was doomed from the moment she decided to go forward with a fake product. It was only a matter of time when she was found out. But when we talk about the grifters of nerd culture, we can see the grifters are able to maintain their facade because the investors they court are not governments or giant corporations. The people who invest in the anti-fandom con are regular people, often with some valid feelings of being alienated and left behind by a world that has no patience for social stragglers. Most of the time, the marks on this con are young men, but you'd be surprised how often that's not true. You know what? That's an episode better left for the future. It's worth asking. Can you be sure that you've not been conned? If you scoff at the very suggestion, you're the perfect mark.
Somebody, please, they got the children!
The only way that you can really stop this kind of thing is to arouse public opinion. It's very upsetting. It has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
Ask yourself, what's more terrifying, fear or the frightened?
The facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire.
Bad, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves?
And the shadow is encroaching upon our own liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome to the FAPcast. Today is it's a day. It's a day of days. You know, that's a line in the sequel to Riddick, to the Riddick Pitch Black, Riddick, the Chronicles of Riddick. There's the character, he says, "Today is a day of days," and I always thought that was just a fucking weird thing to say. What does that mean? You know, day of days. I mean, it's like it sounds like it's trying to be really fucking like, you know, epic and important and regal and shit, but it really just kind of sounds stupid when you think about it. But today, it's actually a good day. It's not like a stupid, bad version of a day of day. It's like the good version of that. What that guy was trying to convey, but he sucked at. And I suck at it too. But you know who doesn't suck at it? Morgan.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh my God, I got there eventually.
You got there,
but we're not finished with the intro yet, so we gotta finish this off real quick. So this is for Morgan in particular here.
All right.
Welcome to the FAP. Nancy used to do that for me. Handsy Nancy, I called her. Oh, and by the way, on behalf of the people of the United States, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you, President Reagan.
I was like, I wonder if there's any clips of him just saying happy birthday. That's not AI. That's real Reagan saying
that's
happy birthday.
Actually Ronald Reagan. Yeah.
Yep. That's the man himself, you know. He didn't know who he was saying it to at the time, but like, you know, he didn't know anything about anything really. But
right. Just by a quirk of Alzheimer's.
He just happened to say it. He was supposed to be giving a State of the Union. It was weird.
The state of Morgan is fine.
State of Morgan is it could be better, but
could be better,
worse,
could
maybe.
be worse.
You know,
but we're happy to be
work
here.
on making it better. You are in this chat, Greg.
I see you,
so
Greg.
That's weird. Did somebody fix it? I didn't fix it. To be honest with you. So he was having a hard time or couldn't chat last stream. I don't know what the difference would be, honestly. Wait, are you on the FAPcast channel? Is that what it is?
Yeah, you might be on the FAPcast channel.
That must be what it is, huh?
Well, we can see you, Greg.
We can see you. You're seen.
Feel seen.
You are. You're seen here. Did I hire a barbershop quartet?
No, but that'd be cool. We should hire a barbershop.
Oh, the four-step. No, that's an artist YouTuber called Intellectual Dark Wave. You know, a little play on Intellectual Dark Web. He makes music about all kinds of stuff, like mainly, you know, he's a lefty. He's pretty rad lefty, and a musician. So the Wolverine is gay music. Like I took the song that Ethan Van Sciver used to play, and I transcribed it on guitar. I made new lyrics. I came up with kind of a better melody than Ethan ever had for it. But everything else musically on that recording is also Intellectual Dark Wave. So yeah, that's who
they do good work.
He does. He's he has a song about called Cigars. It's all about like Dennis Prager and all those right wingers that smoke cigars and shit. And like throughout the whole thing, there's like Rush Limbaugh talking about how harmless cigar smoke is and shit.
You know what? I hope, because I'm sure they miss him, right? They all love Rush. I hope they get to join him soon.
Yes.
Serving America and the world as gender neutral bathrooms.
Yeah. Yep. Anyways,
yeah, better than EVS is. Well, Dane is just better at everything than EVS. Maybe not try. Better writer.
Not feeling that today. I'll be honest with you. You know, I will say that as good as I am at a lot of things, sometimes parenting is hard.
Parenting is really hard. It's never, even when it's easy, it's hard.
Yeah, kind of true.
It's a lot of work, and yeah, parents out there, you are seen today.
Well, especially your parents. You know, I guess if you're cool with them, then I'm going to give them a shout out for, making you happen. So here you are.
They made me happen. I mean,
some odd years later.
Yeah, so we got there eventually. You know, it worked out in the end. There's a horror story about how that happened that it's probably TMI for chat, so we'll save that for later.
What are we doing this is the AF branding. I need to switch over to the goddamn fat branding. What am I doing?
What are you, Daniel. Danathan.
Silly me.
I'm just going to keep adding more and more bizarre ways to say your
name. I mean, I call Gordothy. I call Gordy Gordothy and Gordial and Gordkul, and I've called them all kinds of stuff. I've tried to add various different second halves of names to Gord, and Gordothy is the one that really sticks.
Gordabeth.
Yeah, that's one. True. Yeah.
Gordabeth. Yeah.
I came up with a full name for him at one point. It was like Gordothy something or other, and yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
That sounds about right.
Now I got to add this whole thing back over here. That's okay. That's not y'all's problem. I shouldn't even complain about it out loud.
That sounds delicious,
right.
Screwface.
So we got a couple things we're kind of going to talk about, I guess, today.
We got some.
It's your birthday, so
it's my birthday.
I did want to kind of run through a thing here real quick.
Sure.
Just as a extra bit of a birthday thing here. So what I've got is okay, I'm just going to start. All right.
Hit it.
What do you call a dragon after it eats a group of adventurers?
What's that?
Party pooper.
All right.
What do you call it when you get knocked down by an ooze?
What?
An acid trip.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Who gives the best hickeys?
I don't know.
Necromancers.
Oh, boo.
Come on. So this is a list of Pathfinder related jokes I found on Reddit.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Maybe I'll just drop one of those every now and then throughout the show. But
just yeah.
Let's see.
Catch me off guard.
I want to find one more good one here. How do you kill an orc with a crossbow?
How?
You shoot him.
Well,
all right, moving on.
All right. Thanks, folks. Thanks, everyone, for the happy birthday. Not you, Dane, except you. You get nothing. Well, you know what? You know what? Your Pathfinder dad jokes are appreciated. They're not the worst gift I've got this year. So.
Oh, well, that's something. Something I don't know how to feel about it, but I'll take it. Okay. What did you want to do first? It's your day. You direct. I'll do whatever you say. You know.
All right. Well, so it's been in the news a lot lately, and I've wanted to do it for a little while, and now that a certain hag is being sued, I thought it was a good day to talk about witch hunting.
Oh.
Witch hunting, yeah. And this set me on a bit of a deep dive.
Uh-oh.
Because I noticed something with these, in the media the last several years, but there's been a rash of them in the last few months, from Kyle Rittenhouse to Amani Khalif, of Transvestigation, which is the portmanteau of transgender and investigation, wherein someone looks at stills from videos and photos and tries to tell you why they are secretly trans. Damn, we all got birthdays back and back and back, huh? That's crazy.
Damn.
I don't know a lot of other August birthdays. You have like double the number of August birthdays I know. But the methodology is one of these things where like it's not falsifiable. It's always these weird, like, well, if their jaw is shaped this way, and it's like, well, you can find lighting that does that, and you can find a lot of like, turns out body shapes are different, especially when you get into different ethnic groups and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is really like, you can't.
Well, so apparently these images. I don't know if I'm lagging or what's going on.
Yeah, a little bit.
Happening. Sorry about that.
All good.
I did not mean to interrupt. So you've seen these images of Amon that have come out, which I guess she got a makeover or something.
Mm-hmm.
She seems pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
But like apparently that's caused a whole other kind of like offshoot round of gender discussion, because
yes,
I mean, what, women can do that, but they can, like.
Well, there is a thing that like she shouldn't have to do that to prove her femininity.
That's what I felt too. But like, if she wanted to, then that's one thing. But you know what?
Right.
I was very glad to see that because I think a lot of us that kind of knew anything about anything were worried about her going home to was it Algeria.
Yeah.
Apparently
Algeria.
she was welcomed with like parades and all kinds of stuff. So like there wasn't the kind of stuff that I the worst case scenario that I was worried about. Because she won gold, so like she provided value to the country.
Right.
And then
she's in the face of all of this like nonsense, she has risen above and won an Olympic gold medal, which is a pretty big accomplishment.
I feel like the one on the left here, they were like, now look down and look like you're kind of like demure and
right.
don't look too aggressive.
Yeah,
you know?
don't look like you're gonna punch someone, even though that's like what
that's half of your
job
picture.
is. Yeah, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
But, and I'm sure they'll still say she's a man, just because they have not. Well, they've done two things now. So there is 2 court cases in France, one of which is a civil suit. Wherein for
is it against anybody in particular, like anybody relevant, or
so how the French law works? I've been trying to figure out exactly how it works, but I don't speak French, and I've been relying on English sources that are secondhand, so I'm not 100%. So their cyberbullying laws are a lot more robust than ours.
Dope.
And so they her lawyers named Musk and Rowling in kind of et al. Because they are also suing Twitter, and as part of that is the discovery process of going, so who did all this? Like, I would they can get names and stuff. And at the same time, there is apparently a criminal case as well.
Hopefully Elon will be more forthcoming with that information than he has been regarding the Epstein case that they've been trying to subpoena data from Twitter.
I cannot imagine he will be. The main thing that France has over the US in this is that the European Union loves bullying big tech companies.
Nice.
Like they have like an absolute boner for it. They've bullied Microsoft and Apple and Twitter and Facebook, and they.
Is it because they're not over there? It's because they're over here. If they're over there, they'd be like, you guys are great.
There's a little bit of that, but they're generally a lot more on top of their anti-monopoly business laws. So the EU has already said, like with the Musk-Trump disaster, that there are European Union laws about disseminating social disinformation on social media, and that whole disaster violates that every subsection of that law, and so Twitter could be liable or shut down in the EU for breaking those laws.
Crazy.
So even if they don't try, I mean, they're going to try and stall it out because it's what you do, but it's still ugly for them, and I wish them the worst.
Yeah. They all deserve to have bad things happen to them. I don't know if you saw that I kind of got a little edgy in the thumbnail and have decided to burn some J.K. Rowling with some cartoon fire.
I saw that.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing is, if for a woman who likes to write about witches, or used to, now she writes about how awful trans people are, including in her fiction, where she writes under a male pseudonym.
We talked about this. We had a whole stream about it at one point where it was like literally about the irony of her, in the 90s, she's literally having her books burned by crazy bigots. And now she's a crazy bigot that, is part of movements that burn books.
Yeah. The bigots who burn her books now elevate her for her transphobia.
I remember we wondered how many, if there's, probably some amount of people who were literally, back there in the 90s burning her books, and now they're like all happy she's on their side because they don't actually have any real standards either.
No,
it's just about their feelings. But yeah, fuck Elon and fuck J.K. Rowling and fuck all these people that did this shit, that do this shit in general. Like, I don't, I'll see some post about something and it's just like out of left field, seemingly that somebody will say something about an Adam's apple or something like that. And I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? That's not even something that's visible there. Like, what?
And I've seen, and it's not just on Twitter. Like, I've seen it in YouTube comments where like a happy birthday to me. It's my birthday. I can cry if I want to. I've seen it on like female YouTubers, like women, even cis women who are like, oh, they've got an Adam's apple or whatever. Like, there are cis women with Adam's apples.
Mm-hmm.
It's just humans are weird.
What is the implication? Is it kind of like when people point out my man bun, where it's like it's just a thing I'm pointing out that implies that you're not a valid person, or what?
Yeah, it's just dehumanizing you. It's saying you don't count as a man because of X physical characteristic.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. It's like a reverse pick me. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I just was trying to understand what is the practice. You know, like I've been being a YouTuber 5 years now. I try to understand what people are trying to accomplish with comments sometimes. You know, like, are you trying to get me to be sad? What is it? And so that's with that kind of thing. I'm like, I don't.
I think a lot of it's just shit posting.
Yeah.
I think some of it is just like the innate insecurity of you're not comfortable with who you are, so you have to make it about everybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't want to psychoanalyze these people because I don't know them. I'm not trained in that.
Probably terrifying to learn anything about them anyway.
I want them to get therapy because they very clearly need it. They need to talk to someone about their feelings and their, how they express them in the world in very embarrassing fashion in a way that alienates themselves from the humans in their lives. But their methodology actually has some historical precedent. And I wanted to look into that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a, what do you call it? Phrenology?
A little bit. Not less scientific rigor than phrenology. And that's a incredibly low bar. That bar is buried in the earth. And they, the Transvestigators, they do some phrenology. They love them some phrenology too. Don't get it twisted. But there's a layer of like the things phrenologists measure, like in skulls, like exist on skulls. They don't mean anything. Skulls just come in different shapes. That's fine. That's normal. It doesn't mean anything. But the other stuff, little weird, like how your clavicle is shaped, how your shoulders, how you hold your shoulders, how your eye, like I've seen eyebrow transvestigators, and it's like you can get your eyebrows done. They can look like whatever the fuck you want. So like, what are you on? And as I'm sort of looking into this, yes, and then white people love to masculinize other ethnicities. They fucking love it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first time that I ever really noticed anything like this is like a consistent thing was with Michelle Obama.
Yep, they've been transinvestigating Michelle Obama for over 15 years now. Like, including like people I could name names of if I wanted to embarrass them publicly.
Do it. It's your birthday.
It's my birthday. No, I will. I'm a better person than they are. But if you're listening, you all know who you are. But this actually goes back centuries. They can always tell. They never miss because they're not shooting. They take no shots. They can't miss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you just you call everybody that you don't like, basically, is it kind of like calling everybody a socialist or communist? Like they have to, do they often just say something that you disagree with first, and then that's when they really, is it?
I think that's part of it. I think it's just people they disagree with, right? Like the Kyle Rittenhouse thing is a great example of that. Where like they fucking loved Kyle Rittenhouse until he was like, I might not vote for Trump, and then they fucking lost it.
Yep.
And I don't wish anything good on him. He's a killer. He spilled the blood of innocent people in my state. I really don't care what happens to him. But
saw a clip one time that was purportedly of him like beating up a girl.
Yeah. So he's just kind of a scrub.
Yeah.
I
mean, when you see his mom, not to talk too much shit, just but like, it seems like he's kind of just from a fucked family, and of course,
you're right. He comes from. I mean, his mom took him there, right? Like that. He had a rough start to begin with, but there was, that his own people sold him out that quickly, and they're wrong. Like, kid's not trans. pretty obviously. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But,
I don't
you
care
know,
how
it's-
he feels, but I do. I just am kind of curious what like went through his mind. I suppose would be interesting.
I'd
to know.
be murder piglet.
You're saying
I
what?
would,
Do I need to shoot somebody? You know.
yeah, and like he hasn't given interviews to neutral or unfriendly interviewers, so like I don't think we've ever had a like walk me through went through your head. Like why did you feel the need to be here? Why did you feel the need to shoot someone? Like what? Because people, this is one of those things that like when you look into like military history, one of the reasons we've moved away from a draft is that conscripts, even if you put them through some kind of basic training, they don't want to fucking shoot anybody.
Do you want to know what I think? That well, I think I've heard him say something about this that kind of helped me feel like I think it is partly the propaganda.
Yeah, he was
Telling him
propagandized
that,
too.
and he believed that he was, and this is kind of like he doesn't get any of my sympathy, but like there's a smidgen of understanding of why he might have popped into his head in the first place to go. I don't understand the decision to do it and then go through with it. It's like I don't know how many miles, but it's quite a drive.
Yeah, drove across state lines.
Yeah, which is I think a felony.
Yeah,
if you don't have a So none of that makes any sense to me. But like I can understand the impulse to whenever you hear, oh shit, sorry, I got sleep condition disease. Whenever you hear a business owner that's like calling for people to help him because his business is fucking under attack or something. It's like, oh, I can do something. He probably felt like at least before going down there, he was doing the right thing, and he's a fucking like we just talked about with his family. He doesn't have a good sense of right or wrong or morality or anything. Just the feeling of that he's in the right is what he was going.
And his mom must have felt that way too, because she fucking took him there and picked him up.
And
like
he should be in prison anyway, but nonetheless.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, like you as a mother had a responsibility to go, no, do your fucking homework. Right? Like clean your room.
We can just hope he doesn't fucking murder anybody else.
Right, but yeah, so they turned on him pretty hard. They turned on Joe Rogan this week too. I don't think they transvestigated him.
Oh my god. Did they they transvestigated Joe Rogan?
No, they didn't. I said I don't think they did.
Oh, I was gonna say that's the best thing ever.
That would be the best thing ever. Like I think that's the one thing that they're smart enough not to even try because he's so vigorously anti-trans.
So you watched that Elephant Graveyard?
I did.
Video. Holy shit! Like
that's so good.
It's pretty magical just to see him just like eat it in real time like that. Well, not real time, literally, but like, did you caught that was a live thing, right?
That was a live show, yeah.
That's great. Like Netflix does that. It's kind of a new thing for comics to do that on TV. Like, for the longest time, HBO specials were very much recorded in advance. Yeah. And like, if there wasn't a joke that hit, they probably cut that out.
Cut it out, yeah.
You edit that shit because you're not agreed to do this and then just went out there and gave it the shittiest fucking set he's ever performed, probably. I used to think it was kind of funny before he got into all the shit he gets into now. But like, literally just doing the same jokes, like it seems like that I've heard a million times from different people, talking about trans people and stuff. Like, what are you doing, Joe Rogan? And I really liked the comparison that the video made to what's his name from Citizen Kane.
Yeah, Kane.
Did you catch that?
I did.
Like,
it's pretty good.
He's got all this money, but nobody fucking likes him.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry.
It was great.
Yeah.
But so there is this. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to tell everybody, in case you're wondering what we're talking about, and you want to see a video that's great about Joe Rogan's newest, maybe his final special, comedy special. It's Elephant Graveyard. It's getting quite a few views. It's gotten, I don't know, close to 2 million maybe in a few days. And it's called Burn the Boats is a funeral for Joe Rogan's comedy career. Something like that. And it's...
Yeah, and it was really good. Yeah, Andrew Tate also had a transvestigation moment lately.
Oh no.
For wearing like his Speedo was too padded so it looked like he didn't have junk.
That's fucking incredible.
Like it was a dopey ass looking Speedo. So like I'm just like, bro, what you wearing that looks like a diaper? But like he got like, wait, he doesn't have a dick, he must be trans. I'm like, motherfucker has a dick. He's on trial for he's being held for rape. So like, yikes. But that's the sort of stuff they rely on, is stuff that's just like vague and unconvincing unless you want to be convinced. And when you pull that thread back in time, you get to witch hunting. And I want to talk about a witch hunter in particular. Okay. I mentioned him on the Saturday stream as some homework for people. In the 1640s, there was a guy active for a few years. He sent more witches to their death in England than the prior century.
Yeah, he was a psycho, man. What's wrong with this guy?
And his methodologies went on to be used on 2 continents by various witch hunters. His name was Matthew Hopkins. Aww, that's adorable. I love it.
So everybody keeps asking whose birthday it is. So yeah.
It's above my head. That's awesome. He is the self-described witch hunter general of England. This is even before, like, this is the guy that inspired the methods used in the Salem witch trials. And he's both the sort of the father of the modern moral panic.
Yeah.
And transvestigation.
Whoa.
Because all of his methodology were based on things you couldn't really prove. Wait, Nerdrotic is birthday today? The fuck?
He's what?
Movie is saying that Nerdrotic's birthday is today. Is that true?
No.
No fucking way. Yeah, it's always fun when they get hoisted by their own petard.
Oh my god.
It fucking is. Tell him to give it back.
I mean, at least famous birthdays, it says that's what it is. Yeah.
Shit. He's not famous.
I mean, no.
But it says it.
I mean, we could start talking about the differences between you two if you feel bad about sharing a birthday with him, because
I'm sure we could.
There's a few.
We'll do that later.
Wow. All right. Sorry.
So it's interesting to figure out how this develops over time. The Leo delegation does not claim Gary. Agreed. 2 votes. Because he is not the first witch hunter.
What?
It's a tradition that goes back actually to a very particular point in time in European history. Because for the longest time, there was no witchcraft. That wasn't a thing people were worried about. But something happened in the 13th century. And the Catholic Church got very upset at some people we've talked about before. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Cathars. Who may or may not have been the wrong type of Christian, or maybe they were too friendly with Muslims, or they were too
Maybe they didn't exist at all.
Maybe they didn't exist at all.
I think I remember that, right?
Yeah, they may not have existed at all. But the church was looking for someone to blame. The King of France was looking for some land. And so you can't get your story straight. And when you do that, there is one thing someone can be guilty of. And you can't prove they didn't do it. Because did it appear?
Mm-hmm.
And that's heresy.
Yeah.
Now, before that, witchcraft was seen as mythology. It was paganism, and paganism isn't real. There were, like, in Europe at this time, there was two broad categories of religion: Christianity and mythology. And mythology isn't real. So witchcraft isn't real.
Was there a moment, like, whenever, like, maybe at first they were like, they were like charging people with doing witchcraft because it was just simply paganism, even though they knew it was not real. And then like one person got his wires crossed or something. It was like, what? They're doing witchcraft, and like thought that it was real. And then just from there, it was like a bunch of idiots. I don't know. That's interesting to me.
It seems like over time you get these things that sort of build on top of each other. It wasn't just like one day witchcraft was real. It was, well, these people, they're Christianing wrong. And then it was, oh, the Knights Templar, they were doing satanic rituals. Because Satan is real. And then somehow Satanism became a thing that people believed was real, and that witches got their powers from Satan. And just sort of over time, you have centuries of anti-popes and crusades, and also the most famous pandemic in history, right? We're talking about the centuries that the Black Plague takes place in.
Oh.
And that fucks your whole everything up, right? Like, generations were lost. Most of the population of Europe was scoured.
Yeah.
And that fucks up your whole civilization thing you got going on there.
And you have no concept of viruses or disease or bacteria or anything that could, you know, so it's like you're looking for something, I imagine. Right. Yeah.
And so as everything becomes broken down by poverty and war and famine and disease, and all these political squabbles get out of control, everyone's looking for someone to blame. And it's easy to blame someone who is on the outsides of society. You know, this is also an era when we get a lot of pogroms, a lot of anti-Semitism.
Yikes.
Spain has in this time a rash of ethnic cleansing against Jewish people. And Jewish people that had lived there for centuries at this point. Like, Spain for a long time, when it was under Muslim rule, was actually a haven for Jewish people. They had a pretty sizable Jewish population. Some famous Jewish poets were from there.
Based in Spain.
And then, when the Spanish took back over, when the Christians took back over from the Muslims, then those Jewish people were too friendly with the Muslims, and so they got a too. And this sort of goes, you know, like that it really is forced adversity. They're just like, well, we need someone to blame for our problems. Those people are weird and speak a different language. That woman's husband died of the Black Plague and she's fine. Why is she fine? Well, she must be a witch. Must be the devil. We can't have the devil's servant around here. And the shit they did to prove it was insane. And like, you think this has to be a myth, right? This has to be, yeah, the Jews in England had their property seized. We talked about them a while ago, but the Roma people had their property seized and were expelled from England. All sorts of fun, fucked up shit. But sort of bring it back to the witches, the methods used to test them. You know, it sounds so dumb it can't be true. Like, we're gonna throw you in the water, and if you float, you're a witch because the water rejects you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't float, oh, you die. Got him.
You kind of fucked either way. If you know, yeah.
They will prick any body mark or pox scarring with a needle until you don't say ow.
Jesus Christ.
And if you don't react in pain, then you're a witch.
I just wanted to show a picture of this guy because, you know, I mean,
yeah.
Oh, wait, your thing's in the way. But yeah, he dressed kind of fruity, you know?
I mean, he dressed like a Brit back in the day, but yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Same difference.
Yep. But, yeah.
You might be right, Lucifer.
I think so. I think that's a big part of it, honestly.
And And I think it's funny because you put all these things into a kettle, all of the xenophobia, all of the crises across Europe, and you get this early modern witchcraft, wherein the devil, a character not found in the Bible, gives magic, something practiced in the Bible, to women of low standing, people Jesus told his followers not to endlessly be terrible to, to seemingly no benefit other than getting killed by law, what should have been the Catholic Inquisition, which, depending on where and when you are, is a institution of dubious quality. But often it was enforced by local judges and prehistoric Karens.
Bears and cream, bears and cream. You ever seen that?
That's an ancient ass commercial, isn't it?
Yeah.
That commercial's like 20 years old.
I don't know. It's maybe like 10, I think, something like that. But yeah, it's pretty damn old.
It's old. And just reading about this, it's just like, oh, this is how we get transvestigating. It's just like their skin tone that looks too rough to be a woman. They must be a man. Can we prove it? Of course not.
Do you think the conditions that you're describing in all this, I think they're relevant, right? Like the conditions of the world at the time. And, like people, they're just looking for some external thing that they can, even if they can't blame it directly for something, which they often try to find a way to do that, they're going to just look for somebody to take their fucking aggression out on.
Right. And I think, they're looking for someone to blame. Because I think, when you look at our current global climate, like, especially here in America, we have been sending our young men and women into war for a quarter century now. Like, this is really the last couple of years we haven't been doing it. We've had two major economic collapses in the last 20 years. We've had the coronavirus pandemic, which is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Like, housing opioid shortages. Epidemic. Say again?
Opioid epidemic.
The opioid epidemic. And our governments have been broken by oligarchy at the end of the day. Like, whether you want to call that capitalism or not, we can have that discussion. I would say capitalism has a lot to do with it.
I'd say it is a form of capitalism that if you let capitalism do capitalism long enough, it's going to capitalism its way there.
Right. So you have this broken system, and it's easy to hold on to power by making someone a witch. And which in this case is just a stand-in for person of low social standing who is easily stigmatized. Whether it's a trans person, a migrant, someone you think looks poor. And you even see this in, like, how our traffic laws are enforced. Like, the odds of you getting a ticket for a traffic violation go down substantially the newer your car is.
Yep. Also, the whiter you are.
And so you get this vibes-based enforcement, right? And that's what it is. It's just, I don't like how they look. Because it's always about looks, right? From policing to transvestigating to how you treat your neighbors is entirely based on how they appear often.
I mean, yeah, but I don't like with the case with, like, Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever. Like, I don't think that's how it started, right? Like, it really was just about the feeling of betrayal because of Trump, right? Like, I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse doesn't look like he'd be trans at all. Right?
No, and that's the other thing, is that it is also to sort of circle back around. The other thing it is an enforcement mechanism for heresy. And
like
we don't
SJW or wokey or
right,
or,
exactly. Virtue signal. Things like that. Like it's you violated our cultural norms, which in this case is not sucking Trump's dick. You have to be punished, and the transvestigating is a punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other half of the pie is it is both this enforcement mechanism used on people of lower standing and also a cudgel that you can wield against members of the in-group to keep them in line. That you could be next. You could be guilty of being trans or being a Jew. That there is all of these systems in place that if you're in that in-group that you have helped create, that you're not safe from. Yeah. It had like women of color. Actually the first victim of the Salem witch trials was a woman of color.
We know that actually brings up something that I have here that I'd like to show.
Sure.
That it is related. It's actually, I wasn't planning on showing this, but like mentioning that now, it's like, holy shit, this is perfect. Just a second here. You can continue on if you want.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is, historically speaking, often people of color and women of color especially that are the prime targets for this. Because Europeans are a superstitious and cowardly lot.
It's true. All right, so here's this. I'm just going to play it.
Hit it.
Now, they don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like the Indians. Now, maybe we say politically correct or not politically correct. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians.
She's virtually, I mean, she's got some major problems, to put it mildly. I said, of course I hate these people, and let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need if we're going to get something done.
Donald Trump has been a racist, a bigot, a misogynist his entire life. But if there's one subsection of people that get under his skin the most, it is the black woman.
You want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. Why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And
well, that's a perfect example of the whole fake news thing, right? Of his accusation of fake news, how he's weaponized that term to be like, I can call your institution fake news, and my people will just assume you're lying from now on.
Yep. And then this fucking pseudo indignant,
right,
bullshit defense that he does, where it's like, how dare you, basically. He's like,
right.
Yeah, and then there's definitely a layer of I'm white as shit, and I feel like I can sense that layer of there's a layer of racism there that's hard to I don't know how to describe what's happening there, but it's there,
Oh yeah,
it's like you would say this to me, kind of thing,
right?
But hopefully he keeps campaigning like that. Although he is campaigning behind some bulletproof glass today, you fucking pussy.
I saw that.
I'm sorry.
I'm surprised he's campaigning again, because for a while he was just holed up in his fucking golf club.
Somebody was making a case about how he's definitely got PTSD now.
Yeah, I think Robert Evans is someone who has brought that up, and I would.
And Movie Bob as well was saying what he's got too is not just regular old PTSD that anybody would have from being shot at. It's also the realization probably that there's a lot of people that would have been completely cool with him actually dying,
yeah.
And that brings me to this, actually. This is really fucking interesting, and I don't know, it's fun. So these were MAGA people that were trying to prove that, he actually got shot in the ear. And so they recreated the situation, and no,
That's
I
not
don't think that proved the other point, I think.
That proved the other,
that ear was destroyed.
Yeah.
But also, I just love how they put the wig on it and everything. It's amazing. It's satisfying to watch. All right.
Well, and I think, like in general, I think if you are anyone in celebrity, whether you're a politician, entertainer, what have you, there's going to be a lot of people who, if you got, aren't going to care.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not Donald Trump. Like, that's just how people are. We are, like, psychologically, we don't like to think about death.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed some weird stuff with it because, like, to be perfectly honest, I've dealt with death, in a pretty substantial way when I was 15 years old. I mean, I definitely didn't process it all at that age, but like over the years I did. And I've come to terms with death in a way that I think some people, a lot of people maybe, get uncomfortable about.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's understandable. But, like, there was one time, you might have seen that. I think you did, in the Discord, whenever I was saying something. But it's happened several times where somebody's like, oh, like Jordan Peterson. Whenever I said, unfortunately, he survived his benzo coma.
Yeah.
And Michaela Peterson shows up in my comments, and all of his fans too are just like, "Oh my god, how could you say that?" And I'm just like, "What are you talking? Like, my words are not magical time traveling bullets,
right? You don't have Darkseid's time traveling bullet gun.
I'm not saying that, like, someone should kill him or something.
Right.
It's just like, I'd be okay if he hadn't made it out of that. Like, what's the big deal?
If he had died, I wouldn't be too upset.
It happened in Discord at one point too, and then just seeing people like with Tenacious D. What happened with that? I'm just like, that blows my mind. I don't understand how these people. I mean, I guess with these people, they're going to get offended about everything at this point, so they can play victim into the White House. But yeah, he just said, "Don't miss Trump next time," as if his words are going to enchant the next shooters to be 100% accurate or something. Like, it doesn't make
because like the shooter was already dead. Right. That guy is not taking a shot at Trump again. He is incredibly dead.
Is that right? He fucking can't do indoor venues because of that?
He stiffed so many venues in his last two campaigns, that a lot of places are just like, get fucked, nerd. Like, why would we believe that you're going to pay us?
There was a video of first of all, before his rally, like yesterday, where there's barely anybody there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tim Walz by himself
gets
he's filling arenas and shit.
I don't know. I didn't have time to verify it, but there was a report that JD Vance did a rally and 24 attendees showed up.
I saw that too. That's amazing.
For context, I'm nobody, and I had 10 people show up for Pathfinder today.
Well, and then, like, also, did you see the shit that he's getting, rightfully so, for how he responded to Trump's, Medal of Honor bullshit?
Oh, I haven't seen this one. No.
Oh god! Did you hear what Trump said though?
No.
So he was giving the what is it? Not the Medal of Honor. That's the military one, but the civilian version of that.
Oh, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking about, like, he was giving to somebody. And he was giving a speech, and he can't help himself. He has to talk everything up big, you know what I mean? Because he's a fucking, cheesy salesman. And so he's like, oh, actually, this is better than they say it's a lot like the Medal of Freedom, but the Medal of Freedom, it's not as good, because it's like they get that they're off and they've been shot up, they're dead, it's like it's not as good. This one's better. And a lot of people are upset about that, And then somebody asked JD Vance about it, and he's just basically like, He's like, look, he was just given an award to somebody he liked, so he was saying positive things about him. You would not accept. Like JD Vance used to be in the military,
right?
You know, so like it's just really fucking pathetic. These guys are so fucking pathetic, and still they're kind of neck and neck in a national poll.
It's a little terrifying. And JD Vance is a like career parasite.
Yeah.
JD Vance, and this is true of a lot of politicians in general, specifically on the right. They're contractors in a lot of ways, especially if you're talking about gerrymandered district states whose, thanks to decades of gerrymandering, have low voter turnout because what the hell's the point? Like if your state representatives and state senate is all gerrymandered to hell and your federal representatives are all gerrymandered to hell, eventually you're just going to not vote because you're never going to change anything.
Yep.
And so that's how you get a senator like JD Vance.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think it's from Ohio. Like, there's a lot of Republican senators that are not from the states they're senator of, which is crazy to me.
Really should be a law.
You really should have to be living in the state, like a resident of the state you're in, when you file for your campaign. And like Hillary Clinton did that with New York too. Like Hillary Clinton became a resident of New York half an hour before she announced her candidacy or something stupid. Like, not being hyperbolic, but like.
No, I remember her campaign back then, and people were mad about that.
Yeah, they should be, right? Like, fuck you. You're not a New Yorker. Sorry.
Like Arkansas trash.
Right. Like, no, I get that's a place you can easily get elected. That's why you're running there. But like, no, fuck you. You don't deserve a Senate seat. Heck, the guy running as a Republican right now is from California. He's a banker from California. He's running as a Republican.
Speaking of a guy who ran for president, I just got a few clips here, and I'm going to try and look for opportunities to show them. They're very quick clips.
Sure.
And then we can go on and whatever, continue on. But so you remember that guy Vivek Ramaswamy?
I do. He ran for president as a Republican.
True. Yeah. What's funny, I remember seeing him on like MSNBC like over a year and a half ago or something.
Sure.
And I couldn't believe that he was running. Like I was like, because they introduced him as like the other anti-woke candidate. I'm like, wait, that's not DeSantis. Who the hell is this guy?
Right.
And then he came on. At first, he seems kind of charming until he gets like 5 words out.
Right.
And then you realize, oh god, yeah, no, you suck. Nonetheless, this person, I don't know who they are. This seems legit. This guy apparently is a whatever nationality, ethnicity that he can pass for whatever Vivek Ramaswamy is. I'm not trying to be insensitive here. I just don't know. I don't want to say. Yeah. And so he did this.
Rarely dressed as Vivek Ramaswamy to trick Trump supporters into taking pictures with me, and it was nothing what I would expect. So I took a flight to Montana dressed as Vivek.
This is Vivek and this is me.
Rented a car and it was time for the show.
Hi.
Are you Vivek Ramaswamy?
As soon as I got in the rally, my plan was flawlessly working.
Nice to meet you. Thank you, sir.
That's fantastic.
Left and right, people were taking pictures with me. Even the governor, senator, and Trump's lawyer loved me.
People were loving me so much, and I was putting smiles on their faces. Even Miss Montana couldn't resist taking a picture with me.
Then I wanted to see if I could make it onto the stage. Just as I thought it was going to work, Secret Service got really suspicious. Then I got kicked out.
Do you know what's funny? Trump campaigning in Montana. Why are that is a Hillary Clinton level play.
Yeah. Is he trying to sabotage? I've seen somebody say that he's like trying to self-sabotage this stuff.
He might be. He might just want to be done with this.
Or the other option is that he's not worried about it because he knows that it doesn't matter. That he might win somehow anyway.
State level Republican fuckery is going to fuck this all up for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to do a January 7.
Probably.
Whichever the next one in that series comes.
It will. So what will it will be let me pull up my calendar quick because I have an idea of when it will happen. So the election is Tuesday the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
No, Tuesday the 5th. First Tuesday after the first Monday. So yeah, Tuesday the 5th. So I would say because they're gonna like give it a minute to cook. It might be 11/6. It might be November 6th. But otherwise, that Friday I think is so. November the 8th is my prediction. If we're gonna have a soft coup using Republican officials in purple states to sabotage the election, it will happen.
Is there any way to know that like the I don't know, the electoral officials have been doing anything about that since last time? Like, are they trying to?
So I know in Georgia they just passed a law that allows county election officials who are typically appointed to challenge. I don't remember the specifics of it, but basically it does allow them to gum up the works as far as counting votes. I don't remember the specifics of it. I did not prepare for that entirely.
That's okay.
Yeah. So, and there are other states where there have been efforts in place to do exactly that, which means that the one way to overcome that is we have to like get everyone we know out to vote.
Right. Make it so that like they if they even try it, they just look like utter buffoons trying to fight against the deluge of votes that just like come swarming into the chambers as the judge is hearing them out.
Right. That like they can't. We need to vote in stupid numbers. Because they're going to try, and the next date after that is, I forget exactly when. It's sometime in early December is the date the certifications are due by. That will be day number 2. If it's not that November 8th, it'll be the certification day.
Yeah, we just need to have like a cartoonish number of fucking votes. Like
it needs to be Looney Tunes. It
a
needs
tidal
to be like
tidal wave of fucking votes. Just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
But I mean, it might happen. I mean, not
might.
literally, but like it does seem like people are, kind of hyped. We just got to keep this going. And Trump has to keep going with, I guess, whatever the hell he's deciding to do. With that calling, acting all offended about people asking him questions and stuff.
Yeah, and he's just not campaigning a lot, right? And the appearances he is making, he's kind of making a fool of himself, which is, why people are sort of spreading this theory that he is self-sabotaging. That might just be PTSD.
Julie, we've talked about doing the the fantasy fantasize and stuff here, because he's probably not, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like there is a chance, there's a snowball's chance that the judge in New York does give him prison time for his felony convictions.
I mean, that's what he's worried about for sure.
I mean, he is definitely worried about going to prison because he belongs in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I think before he sees a U.S. jail cell, I think if the election does not go his way, I think there's a sizable chance that he is on a plane out of the country by the weekend.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be fucking cool.
I won't miss him.
No, not at all. Like it's like kind of like, yeah, he hasn't been president for 4 years, but holy shit, he has been kind of just right there on the periphery of things, like the whole time. He's just like saying dumb shit, and you hear about his court cases and stuff like that. And it's like, man, we can't get rid of this fucking guy.
Right, he's a cockroach.
He's a leech.
Yeah.
Did you ever know a leech that was good at goodbyes? Hell no.
I also think the good news is, if there is good news, is that because Trump doesn't know how to shut up and doesn't know how to get out of the spotlight, like he just hungers for the spotlight, no one has had a chance to forget what he's done. He hasn't.
And that way we have to kind of thank him.
Yeah, like he's self-sabotaged this whole time, is that he cannot shut the fuck up and lie low. Like, all those documents he stole and brought to Mar-a-Lago. If he had made photocopies of them and just handed them back, no one would know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, these got sent down. Because like when they went after, they didn't go after, but they did go after Biden and Pence, and went, hey, we got to do once over on your offices and on your residences, and like
they go, hey, this stuff doesn't belong outside the White House. Oh, okay, cool, take that. Cool.
Yeah, and that's like
it.
for both of them, they found things that just like got mixed in places, and they're like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna take them. And Biden and Pence were like, cool, bye.
Like even though it was obvious that Trump took all that shit on purpose,
right?
They probably would have just let him slide the same way they did them, right? Like
yeah,
just like
exactly.
yeah, you know what, whatever, it's no harm, no foul,
right?
But no, he had to fight him on it.
He had to fight him on it.
I mean, no cops like whenever you fucking make their job harder. Whenever they know they're right about something and they're gonna find the weed or whatever it is.
Right.
Can't go any higher. That's true. That's true. Like he is at his ceiling, whereas Kamala's just hopefully she's not already kind of hitting the ceiling too.
I don't
because sadly we don't have a large voting populace.
No. Well, yeah.
What is it that like if like I don't know, something like X amount of more people voted regularly, we would just like the Republicans would never win anything.
Yeah, if it was like, because I don't know the exact number it goes by election, but it's a little over 50% of the population.
Yeah.
If that number was 70, Republicans would never win anywhere.
Whew.
Literally anywhere.
Yeah, the campaign's collapsing. Meanwhile, Kamala's is just climbing higher and higher. But I mean, you know what? What freaks me out a little bit is seeing that happen and being like, "This is amazing." Because I had braced myself for him winning again prior to.
Right.
I was like, "Look, it's probably going to happen. I just need to be ready for the way it's going to feel whenever that does happen." Because it sucked last time. It's going to suck way more this time.
Right.
To whenever it happens, and then suddenly the vibe shift. And now it's been like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're gonna they're gonna look really bad and stupid. But if he won anyway, holy shit. To bring this up like that, just to drop us down.
I think so. This is one of the things that this is why my talking point on this is not going to change ever. This is why every other election on that ballot matters.
True.
Because we could have like what happened under Obama, wherein he was in for basically a year before a Republican Congress and Senate was elected in, and he spent the next 6 years doing nothing. Sitting on his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing the big state level, military decisions, working with other countries, all of those things, being the figurehead. He was good at all that stuff, but like as far as like doing the job as like the executive, as far as like getting the work of government done, that all stopped for 7 years. And also for most of Trump's terms too. So like the first time we've had a government do anything that isn't war crimes in the 21st century has been the Biden administration. So regardless of whether or not Harris or Trump wins, all of those down ballot votes matter just as much.
Yep.
All of them.
100%. So talking about the terms of like just which terms, calling somebody a witch, calling somebody, it reminded me of this conversation that we had, which I think we agree is one of the best ones we've had.
Sure.
Of the umbrella of what the term covers, Mary Sue, which in this case is a very clear example of like it meant one specific thing, and then suddenly at a certain point, a very notable point considering the cultural context of what was happening, it blew up. It just suddenly expanded to cover whatever, and now it's continued to do that, where it really can just be applied to anything, but it is always applied to female characters, even whenever the same criteria apply to male characters.
Right.
But in terms of moral panics and these kind of forced adversity scenarios, Mary Sue then woke. We've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of what woke was originally is a pretty specific thing, and then
anyway, it just came to mind.
I think one thing we didn't talk about there that I've seen, we've seen them bust out over and over again online is pronouns in bio, right? Like it's
Oh,
just
God, yeah.
a cliche. It's just like I don't have to interact with you. I don't have to think. I see you have pronouns. You are not a person.
Geeks and Gamers video response to that Grayson guy's Twitter thread is just like it's a perfect specimen to study of the kinds of, you know, deflections and stuff. Like he just did all of them, you know, like the saying that, you know, oh, they're just jealous. You know, he's saying nobody hated Gary when he had 100,000 subscribers, but now he's got 1 million. Everybody hates him. It's like,
well, that's how popularity works. I
Right.
hate to be like, when no one knew who I was, nobody hated me. Like,
right.
correct?
But I mean, even still, like, it's just not true because look, we hated Gary before he had 1 million subscribers.
That's true.
What's up, Ed? How's it going, man?
Hey.
Hope things are going all right. We were just talking about that. That's
like
what's got to happen.
Ooh, that's an interesting question, McLeod. So I think that Harris is not going to be as deferential to the Israeli government as Biden is. Biden is from an era of American politics where our support for Israel is kind of absolute.
And I think that Kamala is at least going to probably pay, you know, kind of like she's going to pantomime that and pay lip service to it, at least at first. But I don't know that she's as committed to it. But I mean, nonetheless, it doesn't matter, to be honest. I mean, it does matter. What happens
there
matter. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter in the sense that these lefties that are acting like, you know, not voting is the better option because of this doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely fucking nonsense. They're just showing their asses and showing that they don't know what they're talking about, because the only possibility of Harris not winning, the only thing that can happen is worse than Harris winning. She may not have anything to do with calling for, you know, them to stop or anything. That's going to be on her. I'll fucking judge her for that shit. But Trump has been basically had a little hard on about, you know, he's got a little mushroom boner.
He's got his little toad, yeah.
Yeah, he's wanting to do some shit. I mean, he's completely fine with whatever BB wants to do, because he's cool with the you know, authoritarian types. He loves them.
Is. And like I don't think that Harris is going to have the motivation to continue selling them weapons in the same way Biden does. Because I think Biden is certainly more, because he's a politician from another age.
Yeah, it's not even kind of unthinkable to him. I think, like,
but also that, like, yeah, and that's the other thing at Bob is that I think Trump would absolutely be okay with the annexation, the total annexation of the West Bank.
I mean,
and you'd be killing all of the Palestinians. But I also think that Harris is not going to sell them weapons in the same way. And while I think arms sales will continue because that's U.S. foreign policy, we'll sell to anyone if it keeps them on our side. I think it will turn towards weapons that are more useful in deterring Iran than killing civilians. Point defense weapons.
Our job is to get Harris in there, and then fucking, you know, however long it, you know, takes to do something, change something, whatever it is she's going to do or not do. Our point is we need to be on her ass about it. We need to make sure that, you know, we, as in like anybody who cares, needs to be, you know, speaking out about it and criticizing her for it. And you know,
how do you do that? Is you elect a Democratic senator, you elect Democratic representatives, and you fucking call them, and you fucking write them. Yeah. They're unilaterally pro-Israel and anti-Semitic, and we talked about that on that weekend of the weekend that the attack happened.
Julia, I hate to tell you about some presidents that we've had.
Yeah, that is the history of American presidents.
Not just working with them, but being them.
Yeah, we've had American presidents that are war criminals.
The last two, at least 3, 4. I fuck it. I haven't actually looked into what Biden's been up to. What's the drone program been like under Biden?
It has gone down.
Okay, that's good. Because Barry, that was a drone bombing motherfucker. You know, I mean, I think in the sense that he probably just like signed off on giving some more control to the generals over there, and that's not good either. But
Obama was an inexperienced politician who probably had no business running for president, and his military policy was let the generals handle it, and just kind of sign off on it, and that's fine, but it's not. You're the commander in chief.
The buck stops there.
Right, the buck stops there. And speaking of which, like, arguably the 3 most well-regarded presidents in the 20th century, or 3 of the most well-regarded: FDR, Eisenhower, and then the guy who was in between them, who was immediately escaped my brain, and I feel super stupid.
Was it this guy?
Hi. Welcome to the Fab.
No, not that guy.
Nancy used to do that for me. Handsy Nancy, I called her.
Oh, God, I feel so dumb right now.
By the way, on behalf of the people of the United States, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday.
Sorry.
Oh, my God. Truman, thank you. So Truman, FDR, and Eisenhower are the person who signed off on the creation of the American nuclear weapons program, the guy who ordered the nuclear bombing, and the guy who ramped up our production after the Soviets began to develop nuclear bombs. And also was the commander-in-chief of our firebombing program in Europe, wherein we burnt cities to the ground and weren't particularly concerned about civilian casualties. So, like, I hate to be like the history of America as being a war criminal, but, like, the history of America is full of war criminals. This is
becoming a lefty, basically, is hitting that point when you're like, there's basically the 2 things. It's a 2-pronged thing when you become a leftist. It's like oh shit, capitalism. Wow. Whoa, that really is responsible for like everything, And then the other one is like, wait, we founded the country by killing a bunch of indigenous people, then we used slaves to build it, and then we fucking brought in some Chinese people, then we kicked them out. What the fuck? And then all through the 20th century, we're just fucking bombing everybody. Wow, we really suck. Like that's it.
Nobody cared about civilian casualties in World War II. This is a day like I'm excoriating these men. World War II was a shit show. And fortunately the good guys won, but it is a loose definition of good guy. Yeah. And there had been hope to make a better world after that. And I'm not ever sure we got there.
Yeah, that was the, is that a legacy of neoliberalism? Is just like, well, we're going to do this fucked up shit right now, but it's all in service of better tomorrow. And then just never having that better tomorrow.
I think that's just human nature.
Okay.
I think I get it. Sometimes you have to make the hard choice, right?
Sure.
Like,
I've seen Battlestar Galactica. I know.
Like, yeah. But like, how you don't know, and like you can guess, and we can Monday morning quarterback, and we should, because that's how we do better the next time.
Yeah.
But I don't claim to know if that was the right way to go about attacking the Nazi war machine, or about putting an end to the Japanese military. I don't.
See, I've actually looked into the Japanese thing a little bit, because that's something that I used to study the shit out of World War II, like in middle school and stuff. And I never really got too much into the Pacific area of that war until like 6 months ago. I listened to a couple podcasts and stuff about the bombings and stuff. And I realized like there's a lot of people that think that, somewhat it's justifiable to think that for one thing, the American people were lied to about what these bombs were going to do.
Right.
The American people were told these bombs were going to basically just like destroy these very specific centers of their military,
right?
And that would basically just scare the shit out of them until they just, oh god, we can't fucking fight them anymore. That's not what happened. That's not what those bombs do.
No.
Did. But also, on the other hand, and I think this is a pretty strong argument, it seemed like the Japanese people were really in a fucking bad way, as far as like, Japanese Empire, it being like they were death obsessed. They
Right.
thought they were all propagandized to the extreme about how bad America was. Like, yeah, we had some problems, but they believed some crazy shit. And so, there's arguments to be said that they would have just never fucking stopped, without some kind of overwhelming show of force. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if that's
and
accurate.
there's the power of propaganda. They had been propagandized to that we were going to come and butcher them.
Yeah.
And by that period of the war, I don't think even today we all understand the whole scope of the military-industrial complex. Even back then, that like our ability to produce weapons is insane and was insane back then. And like they blew the control, the central command of our Pacific fleet. They blew it the fuck up at Pearl Harbor. They blew up most of our fleet. And we built that shit back within a year. It's just like, oh yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
Now we're going to ruin you. And there was nothing they could do about it. Like, they fought and a lot of fucking people died. And they killed a lot of people, but didn't fucking matter. Because the American military-industrial complex is this Lovecraftian horror of infinite weapons.
Yeah, I mean the amount of the bloodiest fighting period in World War II happened, in and around Japan. Like,
you read like reports taken of what like Japanese civilians thought on some of these islands and stuff. Like, they had been told that we were going to come and kill them. Like, it was better to like kill yourself than what we were going to do. And in some ways, yeah, that kind of makes sense, because yeah, we bombed these guys, and what did they do? Oh, they're burning our cities to the ground halfway around the world, that they can fly planes and firebomb our cities off the map, and we can't do a fucking thing. And our fleet that ruined their fleet is gone now.
I mean, look, there's something that we did something to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they seem like a pretty awesome people, but there's some kind of like a deferment to Western culture that's just like probably not a healthy thing.
No, we fucked them up because like I said, the American military-industrial complex and the American military is a nightmare creature.
I still haven't watched that. I guess on Netflix.
You have to see Godzilla -1.
Okay, I will. I'll see it. All right.
It is the best movie I have seen since Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Whoa. 2?
2.
Wow. Okay. I mean, look, I really like the Dune movies. I'm just saying.
I haven't seen the Dune movies yet, probably because I read the book and I'm just like, oh wow, I didn't really like. I like the book, but I like it in a like, this is the history of sci-fi rather than like, this is a really good book.
Yes.
Some
more than others. Now, what you want to look for, the things you want to look for, right? By the way, if you're like, oh, how do I judge them? Then are they just all equally bad? No, not really, because like, the thing you want to look for is needless, like completely fucking wanton, even cruel blood spilt, right? Like, for instance, the whole lie about Iraq and weapons of mass destruction, 9/11, all of that shit. Anybody involved with that, everybody involved with that knew that it was a fucking lie is objectively a worse human being than, I don't know, other government officials at other times that were responsible for death. Not all of them, but like, that's a really fucking unnecessary and fucked up thing that was just decided cynically, I guess, because oil, I guess is what it boils down to.
I think there's a mix of things, like, and we're still sort of getting the history of it. I think there's an issue of like, well, daddy didn't finish this, so I want to. Yeah. I think the oil. I think you have a lot of military contractors that were all hot and heavy for another war.
And in there might have been some somewhat reasonable ideas that were used for justification that still wasn't a good justification to do what we did. But like, yeah, there's a lot of terrorism cropping up out of that region at that time. You know what I mean? Like, so there's there's like, okay, we do have to be concerned about our security, right? But that, yeah, just starting a fucking essentially forever war, trying to spread democracy. God, what a stupid fucking.
Well, it's, and I think that's the other side of this eldritch horror that is the American military industrial complex cuts both ways, because we can wage a war forever.
Yeah.
We don't know when to stop, and we don't know why we started. Like, we didn't start with a plan.
We stop whenever the public public basically hates it now. Whenever they hate it.
Because like I think that when all of the war on terror started, it was we needed to bring the people responsible for 9/11 to justice. Except that they offered to hand over bin Laden, the Taliban did, and we said no.
Well, they wanted a good hunt, I guess. Like, that's too easy. We got to fucking chase him down and make him. We're gonna let him go hole up in Pakistan with all his porn and shit like that, and all his wives, and he's gonna think he got away with it, and then we're gonna bust in and fucking get him.
Oh yeah, Mark. I would agree that Lyndon Johnson was a much bigger scumbag than FDR.
Yes.
Like I wouldn't even call, like, it's one of those things that, like, are you a scumbag if you're a war criminal? I don't know. I don't think FDR was. I think FDR was in a situation where, like, we got attacked. Our allies got attacked. We didn't start shit. It took a Pearl Harbor to get us involved, because the isolationist movement in the United States was very strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, our involvement in World War II was justified. I think we did some horrific things in it, but we were not the only ones. And there's a certain level of, I hate to put it this way, but our atrocities were simply business. Whereas, like, even the stuff like, we talk about what the Nazis did to the Jewish people and the Roma and LGBT people.
Meanwhile, we had fucking internment.
And we had internment camps for Japanese people, but the Japanese people, I saw someone mentioning it in chat, like, they did horrible things in Southeast Asia and China and especially Korea, and they still won't acknowledge they even did those things. Like, the position of the Japanese government today is that tough shit.
Well, yeah.
Like, even after we literally kicked their face in, like, they deny that they did anything wrong to Korean women. And
do you remember Obama, like, apologizing officially for Nagasaki and Hiroshima?
No, I
don't.
don't.
What it was? I think that's what it was, right?
I don't remember this.
I don't know if he apologized exactly, but he expressed like sympathy, is like, this was really fucking harsh, and we're sorry it came to this kind of thing,
right?
And like, it was an official act. I remember something like that. Because, of course, the Republicans and stuff were like, oh, he's doing an apology tour, he's apologizing and stuff. It's like, no, maybe he's just, with the benefit of hindsight, going, a lot of people died really fucked up ways, and then not another bunch of people didn't die, and it was really fucked up,
right?
Because if you ever hear any descriptions of what happened,
those bombs fucked people up forever. And, like, Japanese culture, it has warped around that event.
Yeah, how could it not? Like,
how could you not? The world's first super weapons were dropped on your door.
I mean, we get a little taste of it with 9/11. Like, we see how our culture warped around that. Even though that was, like, it was horrific and stuff like that, and a lot of people died, but it's not. Yeah, it's a bit different. I feel like the bombs were kind of a bigger deal, maybe.
Well, for instance, there is still a New York City wherein people live and work, and did not spend decades cleaning up radiation. Even though, like, 9/11 was 19 years ago, or no, 23 years ago. I'm dumb.
Officially, sure. Yeah, I mean, but, like, unofficially, there's other ones.
I mean, unfortunately, the history of American war is we are sticking our dicks in places they do not belong.
You mentioned somebody mentioned Kissinger a little while ago. Like, oh, we can't even get started on that fucking guy.
Yep. There's another gender neutral bathroom.
Oh, what are we doing? Let's what else do we have to talk about?
I don't know.
I got this guy.
Check
this guy out. He's this fucking guy.
I have grown to despise democracy is because it's not we the people. It's we the some people. And who are those people?
It's like you say that, man. Okay, but tell me what the system that you're thinking of is that allows everyone to have just the equal vote to share, and everything comes out the way everybody wants, because that doesn't exist, you dumb fuck. And they're just and their solution is always, well, less people having power than just like one guy mainly.
Is this Matt Walsh's body double?
I think it's his fucking vestigial twin that was removed.
Yeah, it's like, who the fuck is this weirdo?
This is Pat Walsh or something. I don't know. He's a fucking store brand.
He's dollar store Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh phrenology.
Elected officials. Like what democracy, what it gives, lends its strength to, is instead of having elected officials that have power, is a raw universal, because that's what we have, is a universal democracy. Everyone is allowed to vote.
Right.
Everyone. And just for the record, I think the 19th Amendment should be repealed. I think that because, well, first and foremost, because I'm a Christian. And that is the Christian position. Oh my gosh, you're saying that? Yes, that is the Christian position, is that households should not be divided against one another. So it's not just elevating a male vote, but it's elevating the household vote. We're saying that that society, if you break it down to the basic building block, is not atomistic as individuals, but molecular, being households. That the way that God sees humanity is He breaks them down to families, and so that.
And the way that Spider-Man sees things,
right? Like
it's just as valuable.
You're wrong. That is like. You're wrong about your religion. One, like if we're talking about biblically speaking, that is not a, like, you're just making that up. You're just a liar because
Somebody
you're a fascist.
This guy's wife,
this guy, I would bet money this guy, if he has a wife, beats his wife.
And then like he's sitting there with his phone up too, and it's kind of awkward.
I don't know why. I'm like, what do you like? He's not looking at his phone. He just has. It's like a. There's a term for it for people who have who are neurodivergent, who need to have a thing in their hand, need to touch a thing to concentrate. There's a specific term for it that I'm not remembering, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. Is he needs to hold it to talk. Which, if he is, I mean, that's not a strike against him, but it is just sort of hanging out there.
This is what the right wants. That's what he's describing is what they probably all think for the most part. They just won't say it out loud.
That's a myth. Here's something, to bring it back to World War II, because Surprises was a World War II podcast the whole time, I guess, is that the nuclear family thing was an advertising thing, because a lot of families after World War II were single-parent homes, or where were families living together, or people living with, surviving relatives, because we sent a lot of young men to war, and a lot of young men died. Mm-hmm. So the idea of this nuclear family is it's a myth. Sure, that was a thing we encouraged, and that's a thing that we wanted to show the world, but it wasn't everyone.
And even if it was kind of like did become a bit of a idyllic kind of a vibe that we had for like a decade or less for a while there, like before the 20th century, even the beginning of the 20th century, and like for most of history, families were communities,
right?
There's the phrase it takes a village, and that I fucking hate to say this because Hillary Clinton literally told this story, told us explain this at one point, but people's kids were your kids in a neighborhood, in a community.
Yeah, like
everybody took care of the kids. It was just like assumes everybody's responsible for everything here. This is what a community is. We don't really have that anymore,
No. But in whole parts of the world, it is not like generational living is still pretty much the norm.
Yeah, just
like
think of
intergenerational living.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. How they all slept in the same bed. It's just like that.
Not quite exactly like that, but not like that either.
No, I do believe that most Christians aren't this fucking.
No, I don't think that most Christians are this fucker. I think fuckers like this abuse the Christian religion for their ends. And
he's got sociopath eyes. Look at him. I gotta get him off the screen. Holy shit! Sorry. No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like I just happened to catch him, and I was like, "No,
I don't want to see it. It must be unseen." he like, and like, if you're a Christian who can't live in a pluralistic society, get out of our society.
Boom. You don't like it? Get out.
If that is your opinion that our society needs to warp to your religion, I don't care. Go away.
Hey, by the way, we have 46 people watching right now. It's pretty awesome.
Hey.
This is the Force Diversity podcast for those of you that maybe haven't caught us before. Just
Bad
generally,
nasty.
we like to talk about things that are kind of irrationally and kind of people are nonsensically against things that are often just like harmless on a scale of harmless to pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the middle of we're fluxing it right now. We're talking about election stuff. We've been talking about, normally we're going to go back to this at some point pretty soon, probably after the election, talking about like deep dives on historical examples of like moral panics and stuff like that. Yep. Today, the moral panic is that not everybody has said happy birthday to Morgan. And
have
if
you not said happy birthday to me? Oh my God. It's so entitled that I require that. Please give me your birthday praise.
So you guys go ahead and do that in chat. And as you do, I'd like you to consider this. This is a very quick clip from a friend of mine, friend of the channel, and a comic that he's made.
I am doing a Kickstarter right now.
And just like that, your whole world changes. I saw my whole life right between the pages.
One of the most fun books that I've written is this comic called Kimmy Cosmic. It's an all ages space cowboy adventure. There's like Star Wars themes kind of discovery and finding your place in the universe and like one hero trying to change the tide of battle. She's a space cowboy who has to like unravel like the mystery of her half human heritage to prevent an evil corporation from subjugating her people. So there's equal parts like samurai lore and spaghetti western. Anybody who likes YA fiction, anyone who likes anime, manga, anyone who likes things like Steven Universe or Avatar: The Last Airbender. So this is the Kimmy Cosmic graphic novel. It is a 130-page graphic novel. It's got 5 chapters of the Kimmy Cosmic story. It's actually the first 5 chapters of the Kimmy Cosmic story. Nice. As you can see, it's extremely colorful. It's illustrated by Emma Galloway and colored by Iacopa Callisti. So far, as an independent comic book creator, this has been the book that I've sold the most. But for the Kickstarter, we have that book, but we also have the 2 new issues. So issue 6 and issue 7 are the new issues that we are launching with this Kickstarter.
That's awesome. And thanks, folks. Yeah, check out this Kimmy Cosmic. It looks pretty rad.
You can go to Kickstarter, just type in Kimmy Cosmic on there, or you can go to earthtonekingdom.com, and there's a link there. You can check out his other books that he's already put out 2 years ago now. It's kind of crazy. Time flies. But yeah, somebody said he's like a rising star. It's true. Like, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like he came on the show when he was launching his own books 2 years ago. Yeah. He came on Live AF with me and Little Movie Perp. And that was fucking great. Just hearing him talking about, how he managed to put together 3 very different books, basically at the same time, and put them out at the same time. And it just went to show, like, and I hate to, I don't want to, because this isn't him. He doesn't do this, but like I'm doing it. I'm saying it. In comparison to some other folks that we talk about that sell comic books sometimes around here, they do it a certain way. Let's talk about Comicsgate, for example. How there's certain guys there, maybe even the top guys, that haven't had a book out and it's like 3 years overdue.
Yeah,
and
they've got a lot of
over $1 million for stuff like that, and then it's the book's still out. It's like, what the hell is happening? Meanwhile, this guy is an overachiever. Put out 3 high quality books, fucking high quality, and yeah, just shows what a grift and at least how lazy those guys are, if not how grifty it is.
Well, I think they're culture war warriors first, right?
Yep.
Like, if I'm being maximally charitable, I'm sure some of them want to make comics. I'm sure they might want to make the books they've talked about making, but like that shit's hard. And when your day job is collecting super chats on YouTube, you don't have time to fucking write a comic book. Because
I've actually said I do understand. I get it with like Ethan, for example. He makes so much money in super chats on streams that like, yeah, I would probably find myself doing that too instead of working on the comic.
Right.
Because
like it's understandable, but you're still a fucker. For lack of a better term, right? Like you're still kind of a scumbag.
I mean, we're talking that like honestly, I've already kind of like gonna be doing some work with him to promote his stuff. Like that's
Awesome.
kind of like the first little proto example of that. I'm gonna be making some clips for him and promos. But other than that, like we said, we waited too long to have him on since the last time, so hopefully he'll be on much sooner,
Awesome.
less time frame. But yeah, I do plan to keep the dude around until he gets called up to the big leagues and shit, and then yeah.
then you'd really, you'd really
then I can really ask him all those questions that I've been wanting to ask somebody about Marvel comics creation and stuff. Yeah, it's like Wario. Eric is for sure. By the way, I want to give a little quick teaser of the Shillcast this week. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be, if it goes according to how we're talking about what we're wanting to do, probably the single episode that might have, I don't know, if it doesn't have an impact, it's gonna piss off the biggest guys in this whole grift a good bit.
Fun.
So,
well, they had it coming.
I got inspired by watching Turf Nation's most recent video on Nerderotic.
Nice.
There was a little thing in there toward the end where he pointed out how Gary has no debates on his channel. He's and then you think, well, Drinker doesn't either. And these are the two guys with over 1 million subs, 2 million subs in Drinker's case. It's like, I wonder if there's a correlation there that they've never actually defended their bullshit in front of anybody.
Probably.
And yeah, so we just want to call attention to that fact. But also, we're going to run some numbers on the Rippaverse, do some objective reporting on the numbers. See how things are going. I'll give you.
But I
give you
heard
examples.
Rippaverse was for the fans. Like it's all fan focused.
You're right. Yeah, it's a very community-based thing. So I'm going to show you that actually. I went to look at this the other day, and yeah, they are legit flipping. You know how all this time they've been talking about how it's all about, these comics are making so much money, they're worth so much, the secondary market, all this shit, the CGC graded ones that they sell from the website, and now suddenly, because there's an 85% off sale at the, don't go buy anything. Don't go buy anything.
Yeah, don't.
85% off. I can tell you where to read most of these comics for free, by the way. So don't buy them. And including books and merchandise and stuff that was like pretty expensive and implied or said outright to be kind of rare, like a limited item whenever they were originally sold. Right. And now that same stuff is like, it's 85% off. You can get item number 1 for $5 and it's like, what, dude? I mean, for one thing, do they not understand that you sell a comic for what it's worth, period? You're not going to sell that comic for $5 unless you know that that's all it's worth. If you know that nobody else is buying it for anything higher than that. And we know that's the case because Organized Chaos bought like 4 of the comics. And I think all of them have, I think, variant covers, not the original cover.
Okay.
And he got all of them for like less than $25 on eBay in an auction with just him.
Oh my God.
Just so these are the kind of metrics that we want to kind of just put together and paint a picture of like, this is what the Rippaverse is, man. It's what it's always been. I hate to say, actually, I love to say that I've been right the whole time.
Well, you can't start at the end. And that's the whole, like, that's kind of been the whole thing, right? Is that, like, I don't know the quality of his writing. I've seen the first issue of Isom, and it's
bad.
It's not good. Like, it's not the worst comic I've ever had the displeasure of reading. But it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, the FTC thing is another thing. That is interesting.
Well, I don't know this one. What is?
So the FTC has announced that they are going to, well, I'll pull up the article after this, but I just want to show this real quick.
Sure.
So there's this one dude, Braxcast, and he is just keeping it alive. Posting his Braxcasts. Oh, wait, no, this person got Gooding 12 days ago. Cool, good for him. Oh, Braxcast. Oh, there's a Gooding review. All right. So the handful of people that bought the book then did a review about it. I think this guy posted twice. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is again. Oh, it's the same guy. My bad. That's just all the same guy. And now maybe he's got a huge channel. Maybe it's, really, really impressive, right?
Let's take a pop over there. Yeah, let's see. What's he rocking?
Oof.
40 subscribers.
28 views, huh?
Velvet Room Publishing. So he's a Persona fan. He's a weeb.
This is the biggest Rippaverse fan right here. Like, this is the person that's engaging the most, organically, to give him credit, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 people in the Reddit and 2 of them read Dane. That's true.
Damn. God damn.
Yeah, it's not a good look, man. And I just saw a video the other day where he was like, we have a community that's really engaged, the fans are really engaged with this stuff, and it's like, where? Because the only thing they're engaged with is like defending against objective lies that he tells on Twitter, from what I can tell.
Not a good look, bro. Not a good look.
But I guess he's still making enough money to warrant this, or he literally has no shame gland. I'm not sure what it is.
I don't think he has a shame gland. No. I don't. Just with how mercurial his positions are, I don't think he has a shame gland.
So, guys, if you ever think about chuds and they frustrate you or anything, because I know I hear that a lot from people, and you feel like you want to do something but you can't do much or whatever, here's something you can do, and I would appreciate it. Don't like obsess over it or anything. Just if you remember, I'm gonna go check that out. Dane said that'd be cool to do that. Just keep an eye on their sub count from now on, because I feel like we're gonna be seeing some drops in subs.
Oh,
I feel like there's going to be some purging happen, maybe.
Well, hello there. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
The FTC has a new rule saying creators can't buy fake followers on accounts they use to make money. The agency said it would crack down on false indicators of influence that could deceive consumers. Brands also can't pay for fake engagement without risking the FTC's ire. Their ire. They're going to get that fucking ire, man.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Blood video, BBC, mercurial here is a euphemism for he's dishonest. His opinion changes based on his needs.
Wait, who?
Blood Video Company was asking if mercurial was a euphemism for awful.
Oh. Because
Eric July never has a good take. And I'm like, no, it's a euphemism for him being dishonest. Yeah, it's next level, and I have to believe that it has something to do with working for Blaze Media, because he always had bad takes, like there's that old clip of him talking about Miles, and it was still a bad take about Miles, but he would at least acknowledge Miles was a unique character from Peter Parker Spider-Man. Right. And he's like, oh, he's got his own powers, his own backstory, and that's good. That's better than, And then, of course, the same year he's working for Blaze Media, and now it's just literally any character that isn't Peter Parker is just a rip-off Peter Parker. Interesting. That you can somehow get a dumber, more narrow opinion whenever you did have kind of a, maybe kind of in some ways silly, but it was a nuanced one. Yeah. Anyway. I think as far as like whether he was dishonest, because if working for Blaze made him dishonest, or if he's dishonest because he works for Blaze, I think it's either way, right? Like, I don't think an honest person. You probably have to be a bit dishonest beforehand, right? And then
you know, because he was a libertarian prior to working for them. So, like, I mean, I don't think you can be a libertarian and be an honest person.
I think you can. I
Really?
don't. Yeah, I think you could. You could square that circle. I think you have, like, in a pragmatic, like, we live in a society sort of sense, that, like, you can hold to libertarian values without advocating in the way that, like, people like he does.
I guess I just think I'm thinking of, like, maybe lying to oneself or something, like, because I feel like I would have to lie to myself about harms that are caused and that I can't do anything to help anybody, that, you know, by changing how I operate or something. I don't know. I just feel like I have to do a lot of rationalization to
Well, and I think that's true of a lot of political ideologies and a lot of ideologies in general, a lot of religions and stuff. There's some level of rationalization you'll have to get up to, but I think it's not any less viable than. Well, okay, I think it's, you know, I think you could be an honest libertarian more than you can be an honest mega person.
fine. Okay, I don't want to shit all over them. Okay, but okay, what kind of ideology is this? I want to know. Yeah. What is
What
this?
the cinnamon toast fuck are they? That looks like a urine cup from
It's a semen cup with JD Vance's face on it. So this is the way they're showing support, and they're owning the people who don't want to have families right now. They're owning all these abortionists and stuff by showing these cups of presumably, hopefully, nothing really. Let's see. But that's not all. There's more. Like, look at this guy. What are you doing with your life, man? You wouldn't have done this for any other reason. You got to think about that, bro. Like, you're smiling.
You are not well. You people are not beating this weird thing. You are not.
God, those shirts. You know, the moment it happened, I knew we were going to see those shirts. God.
Oh yeah, that shirt was that shirt was being printed 10 minutes after the shooting.
You know, oh, they're so funny. They're so funny.
They're funny in the head.
You know, and
well, you know, it's like so this week the Milwaukee Police Union endorsed Trump Vance. And I think there's something funny about police endorsing a felon.
Oh, that's what it is.
Oh my God, it's worse. You're telling me it's worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
Oh my God, fuck all of you. If you are
So
a person who
dumb.
like bought one of these because you wanted, no, fuck you, die in a fire.
The cruelty is the point, right? Like, the
Yeah.
cruelty is what it's all about. They love it. They fucking
Fuck
love
you.
being cruel bastards. They're just like, oh, you did something different than what I know about. You know, it's like,
You know, you people complain about, you know,
you wanted to
here's how I'm
have
gonna put
children
it.
so bad that you actually use science to do it because you couldn't do it on your own, you loser. Like, you know, normally you would think they would praise people who wanted to have a family, but nope.
Like, here's my question to MAGA. If you are sharing these fucking cups and buying these cups and whatever, why do you hate white families?
Ooh.
Why do you hate white families? Because you hate white people getting white families being able to feed their children. You hate that white families can go to school for free, that we all pay for together as a society. You hate that white couples can have white children. MAGA, why do you hate white families? Tell me.
Okay.
Because very clearly you do.
You know, like we talked a bit about it today, I think. The conditions that Morgan was talking about earlier with you know, economy and addiction and
disease,
you know, housing, disease, you know, just so much stuff that can go wrong and does go wrong in people's lives, and you know, it makes for bad decision making, I suppose, and then also just looking for an easy answer because it's there's nothing you can do immediately. You can't do anything with your rage whenever you just say the system is broken. It's going to take a long time to fix it. We have to kind of consistently work at it and you know, change it and stuff. You can't do anything with rage
right
for that, you know, but you can do something like get a fucking semen cup and I don't know. It's so stupid. I'm trying to make it make sense, but it doesn't.
It's just
wow. Julia, are you watching the stream like behind where we're at right now?
You might be a little behind. Yeah, you might want to check and see. I mean, she's going to hear this in 5 minutes, but
yeah,
I think she's a little behind. You know, which happens.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Like they say they want you need to have more kids. Birth rates are low. Okay, well, some people can't have them. They're going to do IVF. Whoa, you freaking weirdos!
Right?
That's
How
not
dare
right.
you have kids?
Or they say that liberty. I mean, literally everything they do and say is a contradiction.
Yeah.
Freedom and liberty to live life. Judged by the content of character, whatever. Oh yeah, well I'm gay. Oh no,
Nope. Yeah. It's one of those things. Everything, like, their position is not based on having a position. It's based on who they can hurt and protecting their own.
Yep. They want to be free. Their freedom is a freedom that is technically kind of tied in with nihilism a little bit. They don't really believe in anything. They want to, pretend to. They want to superficially say they care about things, but really,
it is the freedom from consequences. This is the conservative freedom. The freedom that conservatives believe in is the freedom for the powerful to do what the fuck what they want without consequences. It's why Elon Musk's definition of free speech doesn't include, or rather, like his definition of free speech is that like the N-word is something you can say on his platform, but cisgender is not.
Right.
That's why. Is because
that's why they hate cancel culture, by the way, because of what Morgan just described.
Right. Well, they love cancel culture.
Right. Well, it's true. Yeah. Because they on some level know it's bullshit, and that they're cancel culture. The quote unquote cancel culture is really in a large part it's helped them build a bit of a parallel economy in a lot of different areas.
Well, what's his face? Mel Gibson had a TV show recently. He's in the fucking John Wick TV show. Like, why does that guy have a job? Like, if cancel culture was real, if there was such a thing as cancel culture, why does he have a job? Make it make sense. It's because cancel culture is not real.
I think we've got confirmation that Julia is a good bit behind.
She is in the time vortex. I'm sorry, Julia. I post apologize for telling you to get into the future when you hear it in the future.
Yep.
We miss you here in the
future. Literally never be caught up. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, the Passion of the Heart guy is like a huge anti-Semite. And his father was. I think his father is dead now.
I'll be right back, Morgan.
All right. Yeah, he has been caught multiple times. Like, he has had some substance abuse problems, but he's been on gotten caught multiple times on audio recordings and on video, pushing a lot of JQ stuff. Oh, the Sound of Freedom guys. Oh my God. I forgot about Sound of Freedom. Oh my God. Yeah, and also the Passion of the Christ was kind of anti-Semitic too. And like a snuff film, like it's not a good movie. Well, I hope. I don't know where Alex Jones is right now. I hope he is not near a camera, away from a microphone. Chat trying to help her out. Thank you, chat, for helping out Julia. I really appreciate it. It shows we got a good community here. You all rock. You have been excellent companions on the day of my birth. Did you hear that I actually won a trip for my birthday? I won a lifetime trip around the sun. No refunds, and it's mandatory. He's going to be in a Lethal Weapon movie? He's been on Rogan? Oh, no, it's okay, Julia. We just, oh my, of course he's been on Rogan, right? Why am I surprised? Evangelicals are probably the most nihilist people I know. Yeah, well, yeah. We talked about this back in October, where like so much of evangelical philosophy and like their support for Israel is wrapped up in end times prophecies that are like not really in the Bible because whatever is. Evangelical Christianity is largely based on fan fiction. I think to answer that question, Screwface, I think the people who would want to see a new Lethal Weapon are people like my dad, who have no idea that Mel Gibson, like he doesn't know why Mel Gibson dropped off the face of the earth, and he doesn't really care.
He might remember maybe something like he got arrested for drunk driving or something, but
right. But like
he maybe doesn't know that he doesn't remember the whole, oh, you're Jewish, you sugar tits, or
right. Yeah, he doesn't remember any of that. He may have never even heard it. And so
I'm now remembering there was also the voicemail with his girlfriend or whatever, where he said something about getting raped by, wow, yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Oh,
holy
God.
shit! Sorry, that's random. Catholics, Elijah Saints, Mormons have. I mean, Danny, he was getting too old for this shit in the first movie.
Right, that was the whole joke, is that he was too old for this shit. It has been 40 years.
I mean, the part of the thing was that and you could still kind of keep that going because Mel Gibson, as long as he was in somewhat decent enough shape to fight, then he could still be a little bit of that, that special forces guy, the badass.
Right.
I don't think he's that anymore. I don't think you can pull that off really. And whenever they do get an older guy to do that stuff these days, kind of seems sad.
It does, yeah. Well, and I think that's sort of the Hollywood problem, right? Is that Wolverine makes a joke about you're going to be doing this till you're 90, but also they bring because actors are sort of conditioned throughout their life that they're sort of on this always chasing their next gig, that even when they're old, they're still chasing their next gig, and the fame is addicting and it fucks you up. And so you can't just easily retire to, the rest of your life very easily. And you're not very grounded in the outside world. And so of course you're doing these movies till you're 90. What else? You've known nothing else for decades.
This isn't true. That's not what happened. Marvel isn't responsible for no new movie stars. Their movie stars are not what they were, and in my opinion, that's a good thing. Quentin Tarantino had that famous thing where he said that, where he was like, "Oh, there's the movie stars aren't famous now. It's Thor is the one people that are going to see the movie for." And I'm like, yeah, that's great. It's good that not just because it's Thor and Marvel, but because characters I think are more an actor, as we all know, can be in a shitty movie and then a great movie.
Yeah.
So an actor being in a movie doesn't really tell you anything.
No.
I think that just having a character is also a healthier thing, I think, when we're relating to fiction, to relate to a character.
Right, to a character instead of, mythologizing human being, right?
Yeah.
I also think that the greatest thing Marvel ever did, and this is my genuine opinion, the best decision Marvel ever made as far as Marvel Studios is to fire Terrence Howard and hire Don Cheadle to play Rhodey.
Yeah. Who knows what kind of shit Iron Man would be getting into these days. He'd be having to fight Terrence Howard as he's trying to solve math using I don't know, water or something.
But that early on, and they set a precedent that we can just recast.
Yep.
That these are that the character and the actor are not the same person, and Captain
same thing with Edward Norton. I mean,
yeah, Edward Norton was recast.
They're like, look, you are Edward Norton. We respect that, but that doesn't. We hired you to be the actor, and now you want to do all this other stuff, and that's just not what we want to do,
And yeah, so I think that, and Harrison Ford is playing Ross now after the actor passed. I would rather have that than what Star Wars has done. We're trotting out Mark Hamill with CGI and an AI voice modulator to cover up the fact that Luke Skywalker isn't in his late 70s. And like maybe we should just recast Luke Skywalker.
Because I mean it is I guess it was kind of risky for Marvel to start doing that stuff, because if you want to be an iconic film franchise like Star Wars, you know, they haven't really done that where they try to pass off another actor or whatever.
Right.
But you know, like you said, it really has worked out, I think, and it gives them the freedom to prioritize the characters, the story, and yes, whatever overarching, you know, corporate fucking timeline that they've got for releases.
I want to touch on the thing Harlan Littlejohn just posted about Australian conservatives. Yeah. What's funny is a lot of the weirdest members of the American evangelical movement are Australian conservatives. Ken Ham, I believe, is. Ray Comfort is. The Living Waters ministry started in Australia. I believe that like celebrity church that Chris Pratt is part of originates from Australia. Like Australia is home to a lot of like insane conservative religious people.
That's really weird because I mean, like who would have thought that place with its founding full of just like really cool, chill people.
Well, religion does that to people.
Yeah, I didn't know there were Australian.
That's right. Shad is an Australian Mormon. I forgot about that.
I didn't know. He might have been the first time I realized that was a real thing. I mean, of course, there's some there, but like I don't know. It's just a weird. Mormonism is an American.
It's an American religion. Yeah, it was invented in the 1800s.
We literally have essentially American documentation of the goddamn guy who was arrested for scamming people,
right?
Who then went on to create Mormonism, and it's like, okay, so like I don't know if I've said this before. It's kind of random, but Christianity, Judaism, you know, Islam, those old religions, the old school ones, the Bronze Age religions,
right?
I know they don't make sense to me, but like there's some, you know, wiggle room there because I can see why people.
You see how they got there.
Not having the firm history of all these things and just like, oh, there's these documents, that's all we got, so I'm going to trust it. It's kind of stupid, but okay. But when you've got like, so Mormonism and Scientology, it's like, dude, really look in some fucking American records of things,
right? Like read a history book. Important Joe and his religion, Julia. There we go, Julia. Woo! Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, you know, L. Ron Hubbard literally like. Yeah, I'm gonna be a rich fucking piece of shit, so I'm gonna start a religion, and then everybody. Thankfully, though, as we talked about when we covered Scientology, it's not doing so well these days.
No, I actually want to talk like one of these weeks, and I don't think we're gonna get to it after the election because it's gonna end up being one of those like deep dives I do on some historical topic. But I would like to talk about the history of Mormonism. And how long it took for Mormons to be considered Christian in America.
It's long. I mean, it's only still kind of becoming like it's been really
like a decade.
Yeah, since Romney.
I
remember people talking about how he wasn't a real Christian.
Right.
You know, he's a weirdo. You know,
like he wasn't a real Christian until he was nominated for president, and all of these Christian websites that were anti-Mormon scrubbed themselves.
Yep.
And it's one that I would love to do the deep dive on, but I need the time to do it. And unfortunately, we live in a hellscape news cycle right now.
We could divide it up and stuff like that. But like,
sure.
There's a mini series on Hulu that I recommend you check out if you ever get the chance. It's starring Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
And he plays a Mormon cop in I think it's the 80s.
Okay.
And he's in a little Mormon community. And like everybody's Mormon there, right? And it's got like, holy shit, let me just look it up. It's called Under the Banner of Heaven, I think. And it's surprisingly fucking great, and it's also based on a true story. And so basically, it's it really gets into, and it caused some controversy with the Mormons because it gets into the real incident that kind of inspired this stuff, where there was like a little offshoot cult that kind of came up in Mormonism there, where it was, you know, they were trying to go back to the, you know, polygamy thing.
Sure.
Because, you know, said no, we're not good with that anymore. But And it's got several great actors in it. Let me see. So it's based on a book by John Krakauer.
Okay.
And this is generally some images here. You got okay, so yeah, it's got Andrew Garfield, and then this guy who's like a not a fucking Mormon cop that they respect each other. And Andrew Garfield's character is a Mormon, but he's not as like, he definitely is very, very Mormon.
Right.
But even still, some of the people he's dealing with are even fucking, they're pretty extreme. And he's also trying to walk that line, which is kind of the interesting part of it. Part of it is that he's trying to be a good police detective and be a good Mormon. And those things, they come into direct conflict all the time.
Well, you talk about the sort of swing back around to what we were talking about early on with back when we were talking about World War II, and that the history of American war crimes is that the Mormons have the power and territory they do because we wanted to let them do war crimes to the indigenous people of this country.
Well, so the reason I mentioned is because there's actually it's interspersed throughout the whole thing. There are scenes of Joseph Smith trying to and what's his name, Brigham Young, trying to going from state to state, seeing who will accept them and let them fucking plant their roots there and let them be Mormons, and like getting in, literally having the state militias come after them and shootouts and shit like that. And it's like, this stuff really happened,
because what they would do is they'd move to a new state that would be tolerant of them, and then they would do crimes.
And then they would have big polycules and shit, and just openly be like, yeah, we flout your fucking shit, and then get like, wait, why are you mad at us?
Right, because it wasn't just they're like a weird sex cult. It was like they're a weird sex cult that was also involved in like other crimes on top of that.
And they didn't want to pay taxes.
And they didn't want to pay taxes.
So Wyatt Russell's in it. He's really fucking good in it. Kurt Russell's son.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess
that sounds good.
Ooh. What's true and what's not? I'll look at this on my own time, I think, but still. I'm not going to subject everybody else to it. They did massacre some of their own pilgrims dressed as natives to turn church opinion against them.
Yeah. It's a whole thing, though. Yeah, Mormonism is really fucked up.
I mean, I think there was some fighting about Utah. I don't know if they were kicked out completely, because they did end up actually, in case you haven't noticed, owning it.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Salt Lake City?
No, I have not. I have friends there.
It's wild because it's a very, very nice city.
It is.
But just like if you look around right at first, it's just a glance. It just looks like a really nice city. But like if you start kind of looking at any details, you're going to see this is a Mormon branded fucking town.
Yeah.
Everything is essentially, yeah.
Yeah. I know some people involved in the both the atheist community there and the LGBT community there. And they have a very strong, like those communities are very strong there, are very unified. Mm-hmm. And that's because a lot of people in those community group on the streets there, because the common thing for Mormons to do when you're not a good Mormon is to put you on the street.
Yeah.
And so I've known a lot of people that have been friends online.
Good night, Lucifer.
Night, Lucifer.
Still waiting on you to change your name to what was it you said? Pussy Grey Daughter? Yeah, they disown you. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the disowning thing is a real problem there. And that's church policy. Like your part of it is that your bishop will shake you down if you don't. Like if it's you or your family, and that's your whole social circle, it's often your job. Like, so even if you like, there's huge social pressure to make you do it, and you grew up in a culture where doing it is not only the norm but a moral good. So the system is stacked against being a decent parent, and yeah.
Of course it did. Of course.
Yeah, of course.
When was it? Like the 70s that they finally started allowing black people to be part of the church?
They were allowed to be part of the church.
They couldn't be like
they
clergy.
couldn't be bishops.
Yeah.
Which is their equivalent of a priest. Like their parish pastor is a bishop.
So I'm just glancing here, but like the detectives of the story in the show are not real, based on real characters, real people, but like the It's the based on John Krakauer's 2003 true crime bestseller Under the Banner of Heaven, which details an infamous Utah case. The case is still considered one of the most notorious and gruesome in the state's history. And while the case is based on literally a woman and her infant child were brutally murdered.
That's rude.
And spoiler alert, it was by a couple of the guys in this little offshoot of the church.
Yeah, there's actually still offshoots of the Mormon Church today. That's still a thing. And you'd think like a religion so small as Mormonism is not a huge religion. Like you'd think like, how do you have offshoots? Well, because that's just the nature of religion. Like
CSI Utah.
It really is.
Sorry, what? Yeah, I mean, what?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No,
go ahead.
It's your birthday. Go.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I know Sanderson is a Mormon. I tried to read one of his books and I was just not digging it. But he's certainly more well regarded as a human being than Card, who I think
big piece of shit.
Is a big piece of shit.
Like there was Glenn E. Larson, who Battlestar Galactica Knight Rider.
Yeah.
He was a Mormon guy. You can tell that in some, definitely in the BSG lore of like, the 12 colonies of Kobol, when like the planet in Mormon, lore that you go live on with Jesus or whatever is like Kolob or some shit.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely Mormon influence in BSG.
And there's other things too. That's the cool thing is like, he did use some of that stuff, but it's like he wasn't, I don't feel like he was trying to push it on anybody. He was just, here's some decent, it's more like structure of the way the religion's set up or the way the government's set up, and not really like taking, piece by piece and literal. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's sort of the key to good fiction is that like mine what you know, right? Like, why wouldn't you? That's good writing. I know people are allergic to calling bad writing, but like
that's a good way to put it. And you're right. Yeah. That's what
I mean, that's literally the MCU and the Asgardian pantheon is just like, oh, we're just gonna fucking use parts of it to do world building for our weird setting.
I want to show that image that before we get out of here, because I'm about to have to go eat some food.
Go eat some food.
But I did want to look at this thing again, because it's exciting. If you're reading comics and you're not reading the Ultimates, what is wrong with you? Why are you like this? Because here's a taste of number 6. Now we just got number 3, so this is a few issues away. But like at the end of number 3, the Hulk, who is, you see him back there in the back, just meditating peacefully, about to watch this brawl.
Yeah.
That's the Hulk here. He said, assemble the immortal weapons. Yeah.
Yep. Basically a bunch of iron fists. But they're all like hulked out too. Like they're all mutated and shit.
Right.
Yeah. That's going to be so fucking cool.
Was that Fat Cobra back there? That sure is Fat Cobra. Look at him. Oh man, he's kind of got just like the little bit of gamma veins going on there.
Yeah.
I have not heard of Black Sad. What is that?
I'm not. No. I don't know what it is either.
But spoiler alert, kind of, because there's a guy that's on fire flying around there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to be a character in this until I saw this image. And by the way, Lionel Francis Yu, I like to say as often as possible, I used to not like his art when he first kind of became a go-to at Marvel. And he's got a long way. He's won me over. So
I do like the like some of the costumes are like reimagined versions of the first Ultimate Universe, and some of them are completely new.
Yeah.
Like I like that. Like it's not quite 616. It's not quite original Ultimate Universe. It's a really cool like hybrid of the two almost.
Like Captain America is a perfect example of that. It looks, it's got a bit of that kind of like real soldier kind of tactical thing going on, but it's also just kind of like 616 superhero costume.
Right. And like Ant-Man looks a lot more like early 616 Ant-Man, even though he's Giant Man already, which is cool. I like that.
Well, you can't really see the costume too much, but it does have a specific. I mean, they're all specific to the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah,
but like,
there's enough differences, but like it sort of references different periods throughout the character's history.
What I love is that, like, because there was a moment there where it was like, man, look at this Ultimates team. It's you got, you know, Iron White Lad, you got White Thor, you got Captain White America.
Yep.
You know, it was like starting to look kind of, but then pretty quickly, it seems like with some intention, it's diversifying, and that's good.
Yeah. So one question I had is, isn't there only one American Chavez? Isn't that part of her lore that like there isn't more than one her?
I thought so too. I guess we're kind of waiting to find out. Maybe does anybody know about that?
That was my understanding, that she's like, because there's a few characters in like the Marvel universe that are supposed to be singular beings, that like there's only one of them. Even all the different multiverses and timelines, like they're always the same asshole.
Well, so they did say Midas did say that they theorized that she came from the future, so it could be the same one from the future, so that could make it possible for, you know, the one we know to be
right. Yeah. There's one Living Tribunal, there's one Phoenix Force, there's one Rachel Summers,
there's one Morgan,
there's one.
They retconned her.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Lame. Yeah, 'cause it really doesn't affect me.
I think it's like the concept in a multiverse of having a singular being that is a person who like, oh yeah, in the multiverse, like for whatever reason, in every other instance, you don't exist. Like there's always just one you.
Well, there's
more than one Galactus.
The movies. It's true. Yeah, there's definitely in the movies they have said though that he is going to be the only Galactus.
Okay, so in the MCU, there's going to be one Galactus, but because even like in War of Kings, like Galactus is attacked by the Cancer versus like Galactus war engine, where they killed Galactus and turned his body into a weapon against other Galactus-like beings.
Ultimate Cataclysm in the original Ultimate Universe was all about, I think it was Cataclysm, was all about the Galactus from the 616. You know, this is all branching off of the goddamn ending of the multiverse that was happening at the time under Hickman. Basically, the fabric of reality between worlds became so thin that something happened in Galactus from 616 went into the Ultimate Universe, where they'd already dealt with their
Galactus, which was like a swarm of robots.
Which is what inspired a bit of the appearance in Rise of Silver Surfer.
Yep.
Which was just a cloud of, I guess it was supposed to be machines. They didn't really show it that close. But yeah, in this one, he was just a bunch of machine things and kind of lame, honestly.
Yeah.
But what happened then, they made up for it, because in Ultimate Cataclysm, 616 Galactus comes through, and then he's like kind of weak. And then suddenly all of the Galactus swarm, like basically swarm him. They become one, they bond into one thing, and they're just like mega powerful. And it's kind of cool.
So
Doom, yes,
that is a Doom.
We were talking about this, and it's really bothering me now.
I got you, didn't I?
So the thing is this, Bob, in Ultimate Invasion, which was what launched this this whole thing, the second Ultimate Universe, the maker, I'm sure you know who that is. I think Reed Richards from the original Ultimate Universe. He's not a good guy.
No,
very bad guy.
He's a naughty boy.
He escaped from the prison that he was in the 616, partially by having a guy like essentially implode or something like that. I don't know.
It was it's a whole thing, but Reed Ultimate Invasion is pretty good.
He wanted to go. I think he wanted to go back to his world, or no, he realized that his world was gone.
He realized that he could not go back to his 1610.
He went to Miles Morales first, which I thought was interesting. He actually was like, "Hey, do you want to go?" And he's like, "No, dude, that's stupid."
Right?
I'm not going anywhere with you. He's like, "All right." So he goes, and the heroes try and catch him, but they don't, because he's just a clever motherfucker. And he goes to this other universe where presumably things mostly would have played out about the same as the 616, but he went back in time. And so like he went to where Peter Parker was at school on the the science trip, and he, right as the spider's about to bite him, he kills the spider.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, that could have really messed you up, you know. And so that's essentially what he does with almost every, you know, superhero, is he goes through and prevents them from becoming superheroes.
Right.
It seems like one exception is he's preventing them from being a hero, but like Hulk, Banner, did get gamified to some, I don't know.
Like
how that
the
played out.
one major difference we know about is he didn't stop Captain America from becoming Captain America, but nobody even remembers there being a Captain America.
He didn't go back that far, I think was what it was.
Right.
And so he kind of just figured if I'm going to stop the Avengers from existing, they're never going to find them.
Right.
Or some shit. And yeah, but the thing is that Iron Lad figured it out. Iron Lad being Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And he's got a good relationship with his dad, who is actually Iron Man first.
Yep.
His dad, you know, kind of gets taken down temporarily with the Maker, and you know, anyway. So basically, Iron Lad realizes that this world is not the way it's supposed to be, because the Maker has set up this whole world with a kind of a council of people that are overseeing. Yeah. So the people that are on the council are really interesting. I can't wait to kind of explore.
Yeah, because Colossus and Magic are on the council.
Yeah, Colossus and Magic, and then you got a goddamn Moon. Well, not Moon Knight, but like, you know,
Khonshu and Ra.
Khonshu and Ra. They're
You
two
have
characters.
Captain Britain, who's a French guy.
Yeah. And they are essentially like the regional managers of the countries for
Right.
Maker, who is really just the ruler of the world, but nobody knows that. For anybody in the public, essentially they, you know, think that these people are their leaders.
Right.
And they do things like coordinate having certain wars take place at certain intervals to kind of keep people in a certain state of disarray or whatever. And it's kind of evil. And Hickman's kind of saying something about, you know, how he kind of sees the world, I think, in real life too, with that way he did that. Nonetheless, the Maker, what he did with Reed Richards of that universe is he essentially just kind of captured him, stuck him in a fucking room, and put Doom armor on him so that nobody could see what he looks like, because he looks just like the Maker,
Right.
except for the Maker's got some scars. Nonetheless, and he put him in that armor and he kept him there tinkering away, working on shit. You know, didn't know anything, and then eventually he did.
Right.
And so now he's working with Iron Lad and all these other Avengers that are trying to get an Avengers team together before the Maker's Dome opens in 15 months now. And
So
then
yeah, what happens at the end of Ultimate Invasion is that Iron Man and War Machine and the Maker and what appears to be like Ultimate Kang the Conqueror get stuck on like a three-way war, and they shut the Maker's city, his like personal city, in a time dilation bubble that is going to on the outside last 18 months, and on the inside is going to last an insane amount of time.
Some hundreds or thousands of years or something like that.
No one knows what's going to come out.
And so yeah, basically the whole thing is where I got stuck yesterday talking to Morgan in Discord. Was like, wait a second, why does he call himself Doom? Because he refers to himself as Doom. But he's not being a bad guy. He's actually very helpful, and he's helping support, you know, create this Ultimates team. I do think they're going to end up calling themselves the Avengers, though.
I think so. Yeah, I think they're going to be the Ultimate Avengers.
And so, but then I was like, wait a second. So why is he still wearing the mask? I mean, I guess if we remember that he doesn't probably have a lot of context for who Dr. Doom is.
Right.
So he doesn't even realize the significance maybe of it, but he has to by now because they have all this information. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild, man. It's wild.
But I had the observation that like, what if, because one of the things that the Maker did was kill the Fantastic Four before they were the Fantastic Four.
Seemingly, but maybe not.
So like then he says he captured Reed. What if that's not Reed? What if that is Doom?
You really fucked me up doing that, man.
I'm sorry, but also
it's
you're
okay.
welcome.
No, I love it. But like, still, it's just really tantalizing piece of the story. Excuse me. So like, yeah, here's Captain America in issue 2, looking through the history of how things played out. With the Maker's world. And things are a bit different. What you start
there's
to
no
see.
United States.
No, it's what I don't know. It's a bunch of words that Midas says. So here's where the Maker goes and meets. He goes to the moon, then he goes and meets JFK.
Yeah.
Then he, has JFK kicked out of the White House. There's no president after that. It's all kind of like interspersed here with like the Ultimates, kind of
who are invading the White House.
White House because there's a bad guy there living there with his feet propped up and shit. Oh, yeah. Midas. He's got a gold-plated version of the original Iron Man armor. Yeah. Oh, look. Apparently, Galactus did show up here, and Maker, I guess, reasoned with him. I don't know. I can imagine the Maker saying just something specific, and Galactus being like, "Bye,
bye, I'm out,
like,
outie."
Like, oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, sorry.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, you're closed. Okay. I'll find somewhere else to eat. And then, you get more history here. This is, I saw Bob Organized Chaos was looking at this the other day. I don't think he realized what this was. That's the Savage Land, I believe.
I think so.
And instead of thriving with living dinosaurs, it's
like
just
a
fucking, it's a polluted shithole. You got Iron Man and War Machine fighting Omega Red for some reason. This Punisher guy, who knows who that is?
Well, I think the Iron Man versus Omega Red thing is part of those like wars they faked.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
because I think Omega Red is also on the council.
Is this Nick Fury?
Yeah, who can say?
Don't know. And then of course they find this woman stuck in this star-shaped stasis field thing that the Midas is using to power his suit in like the eastern seaboard. And
powered like half the country.
Yeah. You expect my reasoning and leave me to my own devices? Well, no, I mean, so have you read it yet, Harlan? Because honestly, I can't see how. Honestly, it would be a big. I think it would be a big fuck up to not seize on that the way that they've been setting the story up in this version of the characters.
Because the thing with this group of characters is they all have a reason to want retribution on the Maker. Like, so revenge and avenging what's been lost is a huge theme of the characters. So I could see calling them the Avengers at some point.
But more than that, it's also like about creating a better, like literal better world in those conditions that have been, exploited, right? Like, so
yeah,
this is a perfect example. This is when I realized it in this last issue, because so the girl that's in the thing here, of course, it's America Chavez, and they've had her in here for quite a while, just kind of exploiting her, and they finally get her out of there after he breaks Midas's neck. He's like, and this is in the original Ultimates. Captain America was famous for saying, "Does this A look like? Or does this look like a S for France on my head?"
Yeah,
and it's pretty corny and it's very jingoistic and it's kind of lame. But it was definitely a representation of the time.
It is a very 2003 United States. So
I feel like I'm hoping that this is more representative of how things are now.
I hope so.
What he says to her when he gets her out is he says, "A great injustice was done to you, but things will be better now." Like that hits hard, man. Like he doesn't say, "We saved you, miss," or what does this A look like on my head or whatever.
Right.
And
then like, nah, we're gonna do better. So Harlan was talking about Galactus and the Maker. It's just like, I'm gonna leave you alone, good sir.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And he asks her, "What is your name? Can you say your name?" And America. And they're literally fucking walking out of the fucking burning White House.
Yeah.
So cool. This is doing something for me right here. I don't know. It's just like when She-Hulk carried that guy. I was like, oh, something's awakening in me. Anyway. But yeah, so and then the newest issue, it's that times 10. Like just this they come across this island that they expect to meet a bunch of Hulks, like an army of Hulks. And that's what it was marketed as. And I was like, oh shit, bunch of Hulks, let's go. They get there, and that's not really it's not what you'd expect at all. It's actually a bunch of really fucking mutilated, damaged, genetically, fucked up through gamma radiation people. Like one person that's just a nervous system and a brain and eyes walking around. in constant agony. There's another there's a Hulkish type monster character that whenever they fight it and then it kind of calms down, it just reverts into the form of a goddamn baby.
Yeah.
That apparently ripped its parents apart at some point, and so they've got some Hulk type powers and stuff like that, a couple of them, but there's a big cost for it, and it has to do with gamma testing that they've been doing. There's allegories there.
But basically, it's all what it really is this, taking the American, our nuclear weapons testing in the Pacific and bringing that comics element to it, but not in a superhero comic way, in a horror comic way.
Yeah, and then the She-Hulk that they meet, who actually she is, she was a little girl when she got radiated, and now she's like a big, Hulk-sized She-Hulk.
Right.
They're trying to recruit them, and she's like, only if you fix this island for me,
right?
For us, and they're like, he's like, well, why don't you move? They're like, no, we're not going to move. You fix the island for us.
Yeah.
And so Tony Stark literally is calculating, I'm going to have to change the soil. I'm going to have to do all this stuff, and it's going to cost a lot of money, and I'm going to do it. And he's going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Yeah,
that's fucking incredible. That they're tying it in with just actually doing things that benefit people and not just beating up the bad guys. Not to diminish that, I love that shit. But
we all love beating up bad guys, but it is cool to be oh no, we are going to do restorative justice.
They're going to do both. I mean, look, Captain America broke Midas's neck. Just and then whenever he's like, I think you broke my neck, Captain. And he's like, yeah, gold's a soft metal, dude.
Yeah, what were you thinking? That's a you problem.
I haven't really read any.
Yeah,
honestly.
That's
nothing against them. I just, for one thing, they're not readily available for me to get.
Yeah.
I don't imagine we have the access to those the same way that you might to, or I don't know if you're in.
The closest would be some of the Marvel UK stuff, or the Transformers comics from the 80s.
Yeah. Death's Head 2. That'd be it. That's one of the first Marvel comics I ever read. Was Death's Head 2. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I have not.
That's from Marvel UK's imprint that they had back in the early 90s.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll show you Death's Head 2 because this guy really left a mark on me as a little kid. Before I was into superheroes or anything, this thing was oh shit. And I have every issue of them now that I got a few years ago. I had to fill out my childhood dream having that stuff.
Oh, you know what I have read a bunch of is Judge Dredd.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd would be one of the ones.
I've read a fair bit of 82,000, but mostly Judge Dredd is the one I remember because my friend has bought collected editions.
So Death's Head was a character from Marvel UK that was just a robot that was designed to, I guess, kill and shit.
Sure, like you do.
Death's Head, right? That's kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe potentially sexual if you think about it too hard. I don't know.
God damn it, Dane.
It's Death's getting head? What?
You had to make it weird.
So here's Death's Head. I'll show you this one, and then we're going to get out of here.
All right. We are not talking about the Stallone Judge Dredd movie.
This is not the one that I fell in love with. This is just the original. I'd never heard of any of them whenever I heard of Death's Head 2. Okay, fine, whatever, But this was totally 80s style. And it actually spun out of Transformers, technically.
Oh, interesting.
So this was related to ROM.
ROM the Space Knight. Yeah.
Okay, so there's Death's Head. But then in the early 90s, things got a little bit more extreme, as you all know.
Right.
That's why they said, you know what, this is not working. We got to have Death's Head 2. And this guy,
I remember
being obsessed with this character's design when I was 9 years old, dude.
You beautiful man.
He's fucking awesome looking still. I don't care.
It's so very much a product of its time, but yes, it is pretty awesome looking.
And he's literally holding the fucking fucked up head of the original guy.
Oh my god!
His first comic, his mission is to kill Death's Head 1.
Oh my god!
I'm literally taking over.
This is my comic now, bitches.
So yeah, this was Marvel one of my first introductions to Marvel at all, and then from there it was like Silver Surfer.
Sure.
And then I was off to the superhero stuff. Anyways, by the way, speaking of Predator, I got from Comixology or Kindle, whatever, this Ed Brisson Predator run from recently under Marvel. And it's pretty cool. It's about this girl who was, her parents and everybody at a colony were killed around her when she was a little girl. Now it's 15 years later, and she's literally hunting predators, wearing their armor and using their weapons and shit.
Oh fuck, that's metal.
It is. It's pretty cool.
That's
She's
metal.
like, I'm gonna find the one that got, you know, the one that killed my family, and nope, that's not it, because she knows that it's got 3 mandibles instead of 4, because she cut one off when she was a little kid.
Oh, that's cool.
So she's just going around calling them, summoning them. They come, she fucking kills them. And she's like, nope, that's not it. Blow up their ship. Let's go to the next one.
Oh god,
it is pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Must resist. I don't get that.
I don't get it either. Sorry.
All right.
You're gonna have to explain the joke. I'm sorry.
Predator ripoff. No, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, it's a cyborg. It's not even an alien. It's a cyborg that has that's like a flesh mask that it's wearing, kind of thing.
I think it's wearing Death Head 1's face.
Kind of, but no, because that's it. I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
You know, but like if you look at this first miniseries that this is, 4 issues, every single cover after this one has some major Marvel hero guest star. Like every issue. So there's like a Mr. Fantastic, there's a Wolverine, I think there's a Spider-Man one. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Softback trade paper, baby. I don't know if they make that for this, but if they do, I need to get that shit, because everybody knows the best.
You are all about the softback trade papers.
The absolute best format is where's it at? Shit.
Well, the nice thing about softback trade papers is they don't current fucking day us.
That's true. I mean,
I have
sometimes
never once been current fucking dayed by a softback.
Oh god, you know what I remembered yesterday? And I said this in Discord. Hickman's gonna bub.
Oh yeah, you did.
Very soon, Hickman's bubbing.
Oh,
when does that come out? So Wolverine's Revenge is what it's called. I think it's drawn by Greg Capullo.
Oh damn.
Yeah, that's crazy. And apparently it's very good. I saw somebody had read an advanced copy.
Ooh, spicy.
So I think it must come out soonish.
I know PR isn't here to remind me to buy Deadpool this week, but I'm sure he'll remind me to buy Deadpool this week, because he always does, which I appreciate because I have shit going on.
And then you don't do it, right?
No, I usually do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm enjoying the current Deadpool run. It's actually
really good.
It's fun.
I mean, yeah, it's let's see. Oh, wait. Cover date October. So when the hell does it actually come out though?
The classic, like, the cover date is this, and the publication date is this, but when it actually comes out is a third different unrelated date.
So
because fuck you, it's publishing.
Anyway, yeah, it's called goddamn Wolverine's Revenge. I don't love the cover. I don't love so far what I've seen of what Capullo's doing, but maybe in the story it'll be better.
Sure.
Oh, there's some really cool variants though. Okay, I gotta get off the stream.
All right, you get off the stream. Go fap to Wolverine.
I'm gonna fap. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bub. He's gonna bub.
He's gonna bub.
All right.
All right, folks.
You guys have a lovely one. Consider checking out Kimmy Cosmic at Kickstarter and supporting that. Support good comics if you have the ability to do so. And I know that like it looks like a just like a little kids comic or something, but like it is, but it's also not. So it's all ages book. I read the first issue. It's very good, very enjoyable, lighthearted, but also just like earnest. Like there's a sincerity to it, and it's just sometimes it's nice to read something that's got a little bit of a good heart to it, Yeah. It also worked great as a gift. So that's my pitch for you there.
Also, what makes us a great gift is if you've enjoyed this stream and want to give me a birthday gift, you can give money to Dane at patreon.com/actualfandom.
Which I will then give to Morgan. Yeah, that's so. If anybody that joins today or tomorrow or anything, that's gonna money goes right to Morgan. So,
eventually.
All right. Here we go. All right. Okay, yeah.
I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother sitting by the bank of a swimming pool, which was also a river. Her genital region was exposed dimly. It had the appearance of a thick mat of hair.
You should hit like if you're watching, if you're gaining anything out of this, even if you're gaining a feeling of like disgust and resentment and how dare this fucking communist, fucking liberal, fucking radical leftist, fucking Antifa, BLM, fucking all those words that you don't really know what they mean, but you know they fucking not good. If you feel anything like that, hit like or hit the downvote. I don't know. I don't fucking care, man. Just engage with this goddamn video, please.